instant cloaking was 5 seconds away from being done, and MMA just didn't quite get in there in time, and this is going to be incredibly frustrating here. The Viking now coming in, following the Banshee around inside the main base, and he's actually going to expend the scan to try and kill this off. Will he be able to do it? He's one shot from getting killed, and no! The Viking doesn't quite get the job done here. And that's really unfortunate. He's going to actually try and take apart the reactor here, which I think, to be honest, that's kind of what he can expect to do at this point.
Yes, and that's still a victory there. You know, it hurts the production, and I don't know if MMA has fully reacted to this push that's coming out. But he doesn't really have any tanks, and there is a tank coming, so this is going to be a bit scary. One bunker is not going to do a massive amount, and the Banshee is doing a little bit of damage here. The Viking obviously can't do much as there is no detection just yet. And he's going to siege up and start shelling away at this bunker in just a moment's time.
Oh no, when he wastes a scan on the second Banshee with only the single Viking shooting it, that's not going to be enough. And 4G putting on an awful lot of pressure up front as well. The single tank shelling away that bunker. He would actually do well to start attacking some of the SCVs that are there repairing it. And MMA is really in a little bit of trouble right now.
Yeah, I felt the lag. I don't know if...
Yep, I felt a little bit of lag as well, unfortunately. We'll have the admins, I suspect, unfortunately maybe ask some of the observers to head off. This is actually a pretty key moment in the game. If we take a quick look actually at the front of the base here, it's 4G's basically putting MMA on a bit of a clock right now. The siege tank is hitting the bunker. He's not doing enough damage to say take it out or anything like that. Oh, and it looks like we know who the culprit is on the lag front.
Okay.
So fingers crossed that gets fixed for next
Hopefully.
game. But this is actually ticking down right now. The bunker is in the process of being fired at. No SCVs have been lost yet, but MMA knows this is a huge issue. In the meantime, take a look in the back of the main base. We see the barracks. It doesn't have a reactor on it anymore. It's actually getting really, really... it's burning down, and it might actually go down if MMA's attention continues to get divided on this bunker. And the Banshee picks off a lot of these SCVs that are repairing the bunker. This pressure is just so good from 4GG. His supply currently is 76 to 63.
Oh, there's a tank, and he's going to pick it up with the Banshee maybe, but there's the scan to deny that pick off there, and the Banshee will survive. That's a nice, that's a big deal there, of course, if he loses that tank, but the bunker does get picked off, and there's just one tank to defend against this, and the Banshee's coming back to deal some extra damage. The repair will have to be added on. Another scan is forced out of MMA here to clean that up.
Oh, so close. And yes, the tank does go down, actually. A nicely targeted siege shot to finish off the job that the Banshee started, and now all of a sudden, it's a tank versus no tank here. And MMA's in a lot of trouble. He's down to 69 supply versus 79. What is the worker situation looking like? I mean, he's got decent workers. It's 43 versus 40. But this tank is going to be able to provide so much
him down
splash.
the command center, and this is going to hurt as the SCVs are pulled off the line. So much damage is being dealt to them. The Marines in the back dealing a lot of damage and picking off some of the tanks, and they might or should be able to clean this all up. But at what cost, Jorasar?
Exactly. 53 supply versus 66. SCVs were lost. Now, a lot of SCVs were lost to that. In case you're wondering about the number, ladies and gentlemen, worker supply currently 47 for 4GG versus 23 for MMA. This relentless pressure from our Team Millennium player has paid off very handsomely indeed.
Yeah, absolutely has. This has been a bit of a slugfest because I find it really interesting the fact that they have 0 upgrades between them. There's no, +1 armor. Nothing like that. So this is interesting. They've really been going at it, and we have a couple more Reapers coming down here to maybe do some worker damage or get some worker kills here. I don't think they will be able to get many.
Yeah, this is gonna be incredibly tricky here. A couple of Reapers coming in, and well, the Banshee's gonna absolutely put an end to that. That's not gonna quite be enough to frankly equalize the game from a supply front. A drop going in at the natural as well. So MMA really using as much multitasking as he possibly can to deal a lot of damage to 4GG. But it is 20 workers he has to bring back. Is he going to be able to do it through this drop? Not quite. It's still 24 workers killed to 9. Here come the Reapers again, and a siege tank is going to say, see ya later.
Yeah, so he got about 6 workers there in total. He lost 2 Reapers, and I don't think he lost any Marines from his... No, he didn't. So just 2 Reapers down, which is a decent little trade.
So MMA is going... he has to do some sort of all-in-ish push off the back of this. He's got a lot of reactors coming down. He's got Stim, Combat Shield. He's making siege tanks, 2 Vikings at a time. He's going full Wings of Liberty off the back of this Fury, basically. And he's saying, look, I need to make a huge tank push. My tank count has to be higher than yours. I need to be able to siege up your natural, prevent you from mining there. That is going to be how I get back into this game because my worker count has been behind for so long. And I don't see that as a terrible decision from him. I mean, yes, it's a gamble, but MMA's multitasking is pretty good, and if he can distract his opponent with tanks, with drops, and get his tanks into position, then hey, why not?
Yeah, absolutely, and this medevac should survive. Now, back to what you were saying. If you look at the supplies and stuff like that, only now 4GG starting to take the advantage in army supplies. 2 down, and he has a 12 worker advantage. So obviously, the longer this game goes on, the worse off MMA is gonna be.
Yep.
So he does have to, he has to go put the nail in the coffin, or at least do something here to get an advantage, or at least stop 4GG from getting so far ahead.
Ooh, and these units in the middle of the map need to be very careful
Stim.
indeed.
Oh, okay, Stim's a couple of units, doesn't scan just yet there. Is he going to get 2 of the Banshees? He should. And he
Wow. The massive engagement here. Sieging up, though, is MMA, and a lot of these Marines for 4GG taking an incredible amount of damage right now. He is going to be retreating to his half of the middle crevice of the map. But crucially, guys, the most important thing to take from that engagement is where are the air units from 4GG? They are dead. MMA has managed to seize the initiative in the middle of the map. Is he still down in economy? Yes, he's still 6 workers down, but that was a big engagement for him.
Yeah, and we have the tanks sieging up the Viking, providing that high ground, or that vision range, so the tanks can shell away for MMA. And tanks taking out tanks, Vikings getting picked off by Marines, and that one will just about survive. This is a proper slugfest, and MMA is actually taking the supply lead, but he's still down on workers.
MMA has handled these engagements amazingly. And wow, nice touch actually with the Widowmine there as well. He's forced 4GG to use the scan to pick that off. He killed off the air army of 4GG and still had a Viking left to spot for his tanks, and he managed to equalize the tank count. It's 3 versus 3 right now. It's difficult for me to explain just how well that went for MMA. TVT players in the chat will be able to see that was picture perfect for him, and he is now right back in this game.
Yeah, and we can see the units lost. That tells a big story there. This is about 1,500 extra to MMA, and MMA took a lot of damage earlier on.
That's true.
So that probably was in 4GG's favor, and then it just massively went into MMA. So. Nice. And now we have the 3rd CCs being added on. We have some upgrades incoming.
And we have medevacs being loaded up, ladies and gentlemen. MMA is going for 5 medevacs worth of drops, but 4GG is just marching into the natural saying, you sure about that, mate? He doesn't know that the drop's coming yet, but he will soon.
God. This could nearly end the game here. MMA needs to do something. His natural is going to get completely taken. He's got 4 tanks and 24 Marines flying to his opponent's base. And we kind of have a bit of a base race here, and I don't know how well this is going to go for MMA.
Here comes the drop. SCV's being pulled as well back in the base of 4GG, trying to surround as many units as he can, but it's 5 medevacs worth of units. A siege tank pops out. There is actually a medevac here as well. This is reduced to only Marines at the moment, but look at how much healing they've got behind them. Both sides doing a lot of damage to each other. And 4GG, no, what's he doing? He's going home. He can't do this.
No,
he cannot afford to do this. MMA is continuing to do damage while he goes home. This could just be disastrous for a Millennium player.
1 command center does get picked off. We're down to just 2 here for 4GG.
He can't do this.
Oh my god, he's going to lose all his workers as natural. So many again.
MMA takes the supply lead, and there are 3 workers left for 4GG. It was just the wrong decision.
And now there's 1.
And now he can get away as well. He needs to boost those medevacs to make sure they survive. There we go. Oh, he's even got a siege tank left inside the main base. And look at how many Marines that killed with a single shot. That is ridiculous. And wow.
And 3 medevacs will survive.
Wow.
Something like 18 Marines, 17 Marines, so quite good.
That was ridiculous, Bury. That was actually ridiculous.
I was expecting the other thing to happen. I think should have went for base trade, in my opinion. 4GG should have went for base trade.
I completely agree. I just
tanks and stuff on the high ground. I take it that you got good defensive posture. Obviously, against tanks you can't.
But you have to at that point.
Yeah,
I mean,
true.
the time spent walking back across the map. If any of you happen to get in this position, is time spent saying, look, I'm going to give you this time for free to do as much damage as you want. And MMA said, all right, thank you very much. I managed to equalize the game with some fantastic trades earlier, and if you're willing to give me this advantage, I am going to seize it with both hands. That's exactly what he's done here now. And 4GG unsieging the tanks.
Oh, this is so bad. The tanks are re-sieging up, but they've taken a lot of damage, and obviously MMA's tanks are in better position. He picks up a lot of his Marines here, and he's going to drop into the main base. I don't see this doing too much damage as the main force is coming back, and MMA is in a solid advantage right now.
Yeah, he's doing really well indeed. He's actually going to spot that the command center has been floated down to the natural as well. He's going to try and target down this orbital command, but he quite simply isn't going to get it done, and he goes back down onto the low ground. What can 4GG do from here? He's at 60 supply versus 92 right now. He's running out of options.
Yeah,
Mules are good, man, but they're not that good.
Well, they both have meals anyway.
Yeah, exactly. I hear that cancels it out pretty well. And here we go. We've got the stim in from MMA. He's coming with some tanks in the back as well. Is this DPS going to be too much? He's got a fantastic concave on 4GG. It's enough. GG. And MMA wins game number 1 in what I can only describe as a very topsy-turvy fashion.
Yeah, well, and, before this game started, we both predicted 4GG. Of course, he is a TVT sniper or specialist, and he was doing really well. Can't justify turning around like that.
No, that was that really actually, like, yes, there were mistakes from the players, but that was a really exciting game to watch. 4GG demonstrated some ridiculously good early game sustained pressure at the natural.
Yes.
The kind of pressure that someone who's looking at the game going, I'd like to improve my TVT, what kind of nice strategies, as opposed to a build, like strategies and trains of thought, I can incorporate into my play. That was a really good example of it, I thought, from 4GG at the beginning there.
That was like just a slugfest as well, wasn't it?
It was a bit, yes.
It was, a bit of...
Very late upgrades.
Yeah, and a bit of hyper-aggression, because MMA started it with the Reapers, and he earned a little bit of an advantage from that. Okay, Yonsu will be the next map.
Right. And then moving on from that as well, something that was less clear was the second engagement, where MMA moved out across the map, adopted a defensive posture against 4GG, but just reacted a little bit faster, and all of a sudden 2 Banshees and 2 Vikings disappeared out of nowhere. MMA left with a single Viking, forces a scan as well.
Yes.
And all of a sudden, he actually starts equalizing the game after that initial harass. So he managed to throw 4GG off with his multitasking a bit. I expected it to do some damage. I didn't expect it to equalize the game.
Yeah. That was just a really good game. The Widowmine as well. That Widowmine was...
Widowmine at the end.
Well, it was...
icing on the cake.
Well, he did have a Widowmine earlier in the game as well, and he had it on the ramp into, like, the valley.
Okay, sure, yeah.
As 4GG was moving out. I don't know how many kills that got, but that's how MMA was able to react to the first push. All right, so...
And then, of course, the final push as well. We need to talk about that at the end of the day. 5 medevac drop is very substantial, but when your army's at your opponent's base, time spent moving back across the map, unfortunately, is time that you're saying, here, mate, do some damage for free and see what you can do.
The sad thing is, 4GD had medevacs as well, so like he should have just picked up and just done the same.
I would agree with that. At that point, he really had to commit to trying to go for the base.
Yeah.
But never mind, guys. We are going to hop into game number 2 here. The map is going to be Yonsu, so let's get into the game. Spawning in the top right-hand position, ladies and gentlemen, as the red Terran player. He plays for Team Millennium. Pewee and I both had this gentleman pegged as advancing. Although I did think 2-1, so it could happen.
Yeah.
Let's see if he can bring the series back to level pegging. He is GG. And his opponent? Spawning in the bottom left-hand position, the slightly greener pastures, the calmer, possibly sheep-friendly half of the map.
I'm happy with that.
You're happy with that? That's right. Playing for Team Acer, ladies and gentlemen, it is MMA.
And anyone who doesn't know that Welsh just didn't get that joke then either.
you said it, buddy, not me.
Yep. Welsh and proud. Alright, so Yonsu, quite a small map. This is, of course, 4GG's map choice, as there is a loser's map choice here. So maybe he wants a bit, play a bit funky here. And he's got his depot in a nice spot here. Oh, MMA has to scout. Come on. Oh, it's a gas fish from MMA. So maybe he's like, okay, 4GG, he's going for a small map. Maybe he wants to be aggressive. Instead, I'm going to be the aggressor.
Well, this is I would say, a little bit more common in the Korean metagame, where we see sort of best of 5, best of 7 series in particular in the GSL and elsewhere, where some stronger Korean players, when they're a game from victory, actually use the opportunity to say, well, let me see if I can catch you out with the cheese, because that would be a quick way to close this out.
Absolutely.
And 4GG loves playing his longer game TVTs. So if MMA can do this, it's just preventing 4GG from going into the style that he's more accustomed to.
Yeah, that is a very good point. And I do love that as well. Like, for example, J-Don is the master of...
Oh, yeah.
He'll pull
choosing
out that
when to cheese is like so important.
It is so good. And, that is a solid mindset, or, a mind game that comes into play. Like, it's not an actual skill, it's, intelligence in a sense. But we do have the factory getting dropped immediately.
That's right.
Second gas hasn't been added on just yet. Of course, he will be able to add it on in a moment's time if he did want to go up to Cloak Banshee, for example.
Yep, he's got and for those of you who didn't know, of course, that gas first opening coming out of MMA ensures that as soon as your barracks finishes, you have exactly 100 gas available, so you're able to put down that factory straight away and therefore get your tech up really quick. Popular builds, perhaps from a while ago, that people might have seen include, for example, Hellion Marine drops, where you just get some medevacs from a starport very, very quickly, pick up some Marines that are slow to walk across the map, meet up with some Hellions, and deal approximately, levels of carnage. Whether this ends up being that, I'm not so sure. I mean, it's been a long time since that build was super popular, but it does look like we're going to get a starport, so it's on the cards.
Yeah, definitely. And we do have the Hellions in production, so it's looking like
It's on the cards here.
And, yeah, and he has cut a couple of corners. Like, he hasn't gone for the reactor, so he doesn't have that many Marines, so he has to be careful against the Reapers. And
great scout from 4GG.
yeah, I was about to say, I believe that just got scouted. And of course,
Seeing the timing of the starport tells you everything.
yeah. And obviously seeing the starport as opposed to the factory. You know there's a factory.
Now, there are some variations of this build, depending on how much gas you've got, where... Ooh, is that a supply block? Oh, it was only a few seconds.
Oh, no, wrong button.
Where you do get the reactor down on the barracks, like you mentioned, Pewee, and try and get a couple more Marines later. But usually, if you're planning on hitting earlier rather than later, you waste no time, absolutely no time in getting those, just getting those units out. You don't want to be adding any add-ons to your building. So, MMA is going to try and be quite aggressive with this. But that Reaper scout from 4GG saw the timing of the start really well.
MMA's, not MMA, 4GG's got to be very, very careful here. He doesn't actually have that much in production. He's got 1 Hellion, two Hellions, and 3 Marines, and they're targeting down the depots, so the wall will get broken, and these SCVs will get picked off as well. And this is going to be really interesting. The Reaper does come back, adds in a bunch of extra DPS, and that Reaper will pretty much hold the front there.
That was actually pretty clutch. Now, 3 SCVs did get destroyed in that melee there. So if we take a look, it's actually 23 to 20 workers in favor of MMA. Not the greatest difference in supply. 4GG has started, by the way, and is about to finish his second command center. So for those of you wondering why he's just randomly behind on supply, well, that's why. That's where the minerals have gone. If he's able to hold on to this, he's going to have double mules and double SCV production while he continues to hold this push off. And that's going to put MMA under a lot of pressure. I actually think MMA has just... Yeah, he started his expansion now. He's given up on this working. He knows 4GG can defend it.
And I think he also knows, that 4GG knows what's coming as well. Obviously, he's seen the Hellions, seen the Marines. There's a wall off, so you can't, pick up the Marines, drop them into the main, and run the Hellions in. So it's been shut down pretty efficiently here by 4GG.
And what I think what MMA is saying to himself as well is he's going, well, I'm not 100% certain I can break this. I wanted to see if my opponent's ready for the cheese. He spotted with his Reaper that the starport was incoming. It looked like he had more than enough units to hold me off. I killed 3 SCVs. I don't think I'm as behind as I normally would be in this position. Therefore, let's just head back and get my expansion.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, 4GG is going for his own Cloak Banshee, so he does have the possibility here to do some damage in return and even it up.
You can see he's expecting the same because he's saving up the energy on both of his orbital commands as well. He's not dropping... unless he's completely forgotten the mules are... No, he's dropping 1 mule and making sure he has at least 1 scan available at all times. So he is expecting Banshees.
Yeah, he's nearly got 3, and this Reaper will get picked off. that attack animation.
Yeah,
He's like, just let me get onto the cliff, and he just explodes. And he didn't see the natural, which is what he was going for there. And this, oh my god, this Banshee's going to get picked off maybe. And yes, it will.
Yeah.
1 more volley. That was an expensive snipe. The Cloak is still in production. And the second Banshee is soon to be out on the field. But this Banshee definitely has to do some damage now to make up for that cost.
And can I just say as well, for the second game in a row now, MMA has taken a situation where, for all intents and purposes, to the casual viewer and to us to an extent, he's just behind. It looked like 4GG was going to be able to hold off that attack. He had enough units, and his orbital command at his natural was basically done when MMA started his. Look now, the work account is 32 versus 32. MMA has a supply lead. How is he doing this?
I have no idea, man. Let's have a look at units lost. So he hasn't lost that much. Is it Shift L? Oh, it's actually
just L.
It's just L, is it?
Yeah.
No. Oh, for the unit, that one.
Oh, I see.
So he's lost. We can see here: Banshee, 2 Reapers, and 3 SCVs. 3 Marines and 1 SCV. So that's a good trade there for MMA gas units as well.
Yeah, it's just been really great play coming out from 4GG to defend it, but MMA has just been macroing so solidly behind it that just little by little he gets.
This is a scary push, actually. We have like 3 tanks, 4 Vikings, 3 Hellions, a lot of Marines, and a medevac. So he can pick up some units, and he's good. Oh my god! And
He's doing
4GG
this.
should spot this maybe in the nick of time, but he might not know it's an elevated type of play, so he's not going to react fully.
Always sieging up. Oh, and here come the Marines. They need to pick off the tank on the low ground straight away. He knows to do it. The first tank has gone down. We need a second tank to go down as well. There's still a tank on the high ground for 4GG. A second tank has gone down for MMA as well. 54 supply versus 75, but only 1 siege tank left.
Oh!
Oh, that defensive tank going down, I think, might end up... we could see it. This is just looking like a 2-0.
It could be. 4GG is dropping in supplies, workers are taking a hit as well, and there's still a unit in the main. He's got another tank which he does have to siege up, but this tank is picking away at the workers, so it's getting guaranteed damage, and some workers are getting pulled off here.
SCVs get pulled. I think this is very difficult now. It's 42 supply versus 68 for MMA. He
is.
will be able to kill off all of these units, but look at this. In the natural, a couple of Marines. We have another tank here as well. 4 Marines, a Viking, and a tank. The Vikings even getting landed. 23 workers to 45 right now, and MMA could just go home at this point and be very happy with what he's done.
Yeah, absolutely, and well, that's what he's going to try and do, but the units are going to try and chase him down, so you know, he could use the landed Viking, which is forced to land as the Vikings of 4GG just hover over it. They're like, come on, just play.
The only way to get away is to land your Viking.
Yeah,
it's true, man. Lesson 1. I love, by the way, that MMA just took the watchtower as well. He's saying, is 4GG coming towards my base for a counterattack push straight away, or is he moving back? And he knows he's moving back, so he hasn't retreated his units quite as far as he otherwise would have. He's got a 78 to 54 supply lead, 51 to 25 workers, ladies and gentlemen. And this series has been a masterclass from MMA on how to stay calm in difficult positions, TBT. It really has.
It's so good, and he hasn't overcommitted. He hasn't gone like, oh, I'm so far ahead, I'm gonna go for the kill here and lose all your units.
That said, I'm not writing 4GG off. I mean,
yeah,
he is a TBT specialist at the end of the day, and you know, a couple of good siege tank volleys on an unsuspecting army can completely swing the game in your direction. But make no mistake, MMA is ahead.
Definitely. Right now it's 83 supply v69, and as you said, it's like 52 workers v29. 3 command centers, or yes, soon to be 3 on the field for MMA. 4GG, he is in a tough position. He does have a nice position in here with the Vikings as well.
MMA doesn't need to hold this position. He can just go home. But he must realize how much damage he's done. All right, and oh no, the Marines should really go back to defend this. He's otherwise donating 2 tanks for free. And there we go. Nice siege on that 3rd tank, just preventing any further advance from 4GG here. Supplies now 73 to 92, but again, the economy is just ridiculous from MMA.
And 4GG wants to kind of repay the favor, and he's not going to be able to, as 4 Vikings do try to intercept the drops, and he does boost up to try and get them in there, and he will be able to drop the units, but they will not be able to escape.
No, this is, I think the Vikings alone can prevent the medevacs from doing any damage, and, well, this is a suicide push from 4GG. Let's see how much damage he can get done, though. He is inside the main base with 2 sieged up tanks, but look at this. The SCV's already disappeared.
Yeah, and he's going for it. He is going to have a cost-efficient trade here against MMA, but still, I guess at least this has bought him some time.
It has indeed, and I love the siege tank on the low ground as well, just doing a little bit of additional damage.
Oh.
Wow, I say a little bit, actually. That second tank is doing quite a lot here. 4G is still behind, but very, very cost efficient.
And there's the high ground vision, so nothing left to pick off this tank. 4GG will lose it as MMA drops some Marines on top.
Now, crucially, not... I don't think any SCVs were killed during that push, I want to say. The workers kill tab shows 20 to 3 in MMA's favor right now, so he is still killing it as far as supply goes. Was it difficult to hold off? Yes. Was it frustrating to have that big army in your base? Yes, but every medevac was lost for 4GG, and the workers were pulled in advance. So, great job by 4GG to have the foresight to try and make that happen. He does need to think about doing it again from another angle if he wants to get the upper hand, though.
Definitely, and this is just really wacky game. Like I like the way MMA's still not overcommitting. He's not going for the throat of his opponent. He's actually going to start maybe doing some multi-point aggression now. So he's going to try and pull him apart and then maybe go for the throat if he sees the opportunity.
And here we go. He's just going to be taking down these rocks. Nothing too out of the ordinary right now, and another push coming in from 4GG. He is narrowing the supply gap a little bit.
Yeah,
and
17 difference.
Yeah, exactly. We'll see if that ends up making a big difference. They both got stim and combat shield, but crucially, MMA has +1 done, and I wonder if this will make a big difference in the defense here.
Oh,
And
the tank. It wasn't getting targeted down. It's sieged up, and this tank is going to get picked off for MMA. So nice little trade there for 4GG, and he's got great position in here, covering that ramp. But he does have to be careful as he does not have the high or the sky dominance.
That's exactly right. But his siege tank is at least covering the ramp, so it makes it really difficult for MMA to bring units down. A drop coming back though, and dropping Marines right on top of the tank means that he's able to just bring in reinforcements at will. 4GG doing actually a great job of what MMA was doing last game. Tough position.
If only 4GG knew that there was a third base, he'd go down there and be able to snipe that, definitely. He is actually taking the supply lead for the first time in quite a while. It's not much of an advantage, but it is starting to gain. You're
right, he's going in basically on the assumption that if I win this battle, I win the game. He just doesn't realize a third base simply exists. And with the tanks gone, 4G's going to have to leave.
He overcommitted there. Oh, mate. If only he knew that third base is there, he would definitely go for that. There's like 30 okay, maybe not 30, but there's what, like 16 workers that free for the taking.
The upgrade advantage as well for MMA probably played a big role in that defense. It looked pretty hairy at times, but having that +1 attack compared to his opponent's no upgrades was just great for him. And you're right, 4GG not knowing that third base is there for the taking means that now, the longer the game goes on, the more MMA is going to be able to get a decent economy.
Yeah. I was going to point that out as well. Like 4GG's actually got the worker lead now, finally.
Yeah, exactly. He's 43 to 39. And what was the difference earlier? Like over 20? That was money scan.
Yeah, that was a clutch scan. I don't know if 4GG's expecting this, so he picks up all his units and he's going to drop them into the main. But of course, great fake out here by MMA.
And he's going to keep 4GG in his base a little while longer. 4GG actually, supply blocked and only just starting a supply depot.
Oh, is that why his big? Yeah, I was going to, his supply just dropped massively, or MMA's just shot up hugely at about 30 supply here. So, I thought it was getting a bit close, but actually it looks like MMA still definitely got that advantage.
Well, this is what I was saying earlier about, yes, MMA wasn't in the best of positions at times during this game, and he is kind of the person where, at the end of the day, he is fighting back pretty hard. 4GG taking the worker lead, actually, from the position he was in. Yes, okay, he's 20 supply down again now, but wow, what an effort that was. It's a real pity he didn't know about the third base, because I think you're right. I think if he knew about that, this could be a very different game right now.
The only reason MMA's been able to get back up in the supply is, of course, the fact that he has this third base that's mining from there. That's 3 mills that he has. 4GG didn't know that there was a third command center.
Yeah. And it's really that lack of knowledge there that... oh, hang on a second. We have a little bit of engagement out in the middle of the map. MMA trying to cover the ramp here. Just doing a scan to gauge the size of this army. He sees only one siege tank. Whether he's actually going to go up, is he? Is he really going to do this? I don't think he is.
No, he's going to go around them, and 4GG has to react. He cannot let them get into this type of position, and he's going to...
Okay, he unsieges his tanks. This gives MMA the chance to stim in. Why would he unsiege the tanks? And oh dear, that's the foothold on the ramp that MMA was looking for. So we'll see what ends up happening. We have MMA now just moving up into the natural expansion. And oh my goodness, this could end up being disastrous.
Yeah, absolutely. Now 4GG is going for some sort of doom drop here. And I don't know how much damage this is going to do. Oh, but it does get kind of intercepted. The boost on the medevacs, and Marines are coming in from the flank here to surprise all these units. And 4GG is taking a massive supply dip there. Yeah, and he is also taking damage at his third base with a lot of workers getting killed off here.
This drop actually has to move back for 4GG. He'd be better off using the boost to try and get back home and defend this. In the meantime, MMA is going up the ramp. The siege tank actually goes down. GG! And MMA, ladies and gentlemen, wins game number 2 and completes a 2-0 sweep of the, at the moment, until now, undefeated 4GG.
Yeah, so very well played that.
That was huge.
Yeah.
I mean, 4GG... to be honest, just quite simply had the opportunity there to cement first place entirely.
Yeah, there was really wacky games.
Very wacky games.
Very wacky.
I'm going to have to reiterate what I said at the end of game number 1. It was an exercise in staying calm and doing well in positions where you were under pressure. We saw in game number 1 how topsy-turvy the game was. Both players were ahead at some point in the first 10 to 12 minutes, and it finally tipped the scales one way or the other. But what you saw in both games were situations where the player who eventually won looked like they were in a position where they were about to lose.
Yeah.
TVT, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah.
Such like TVT is a great matchup.
It is. It's really dynamic now as well. In my opinion, a lot more so in Heart of the Swarm. But then again, Wings of Liberty got figured out quite quickly with primarily with tanks and Vikings, with fun air terrain transitions.
Tank Marine Viking.
I do like me some cattle bruisers, Pewee. I think they're good fun.
Cattle bruisers.
Cattle bruisers, but we don't see them so much in Heart of the Swarm, sadly. I'm sure we can find some rush to battle cruiser builds, though. Just slip into the repertoire of cast there. So, congratulations, ladies and gentlemen, going out to MMA, who defeats the undefeated 4GG. Let's take a look and see what that does to the table. 4GG, whose teammate MMA just succeeded in defeating the currently, well, now defeated, I suppose, 4GG, 2-0 in their TBT series. So,
yeah,
pretty exciting times incoming, man.
Absolutely, and Kaz is injured. Like, everyone knows about Scarlet, so we don't have to talk too much about her. I think we should spend a bit more time talking about Kaz. Kaz has a very interesting style, and he likes to mix it up as well. He doesn't have like a solid, this is it and that's what I'm gonna do. He can go mech, he can go Banshee, Hellion, Reaper. There's so many different builds that he's capable of doing, and I don't know entirely who. Like, I'm gonna go for Scarlet because it's Scarlet, and was it you and no, it was someone else I was casting the MMA v Scarlet game where like Scarlet was like, she looked like she was behind. It was against MMA. He had more supply. He had Thors, and like against Lindblom with her, and she just had like the most godlike engagements you could ever imagine, and she took the wins from then.
She's pretty good at those, man.
Yeah,
it's
just a bit. So it's gonna be Habitation Station, Frost, and Altruism Stronghold.
I think actually those are the 3 maps that haven't been vetoed yet. Don't they veto down to a starting map and then loser picks?
Oh, is that what they're doing? Okay.
I think so, because no one's mentioned Habitation Station yet.
Sorry, I thought it was I blanked for a moment there. I thought it was the one where we veto down to 3 maps and then you veto it in the order. Because you get something different. Yeah.
Let me just double check there. Yeah, it looks like Habitation Station, Frost, and Altasea. I think Cass needs to veto. Yep, there we go. So we're just going to wait for them to supply their final vetoes. So Habitation Station, Frost, Altasea. One of these 3 maps is going to be the starting map.
Whoa, wow. I was about to say Altruism Stronghold.
Interesting, Altasea. All right, so it's going to be Frost. Habitation Station has been vetoed by Empire's Cast, and we have Scarlet vetoing Altasea.
Yeah, and that is no surprise there.
Now,
Frost
the entire map pool is now open. The loser of Game 1 gets to pick map number 2. We simply veto down to the starting map.
Yeah.
So, we could see a return of Belshire.
We could.
Yay!
Like,
Old maps.
I find
Scrap Station. Woohoo!
Oh, you think that? Like last week, I was casting something for Fnatic, and we had like Daybreak on there and stuff. I was like,
nice.
Oh my god. I have next.
Bring back Zelnaga Caverns. I like my siege tanks. That's all I'm saying.
But I was going to say, like, everyone's apparently gone off Belshire, which sucks because Belshire was a great map.
I liked Belshire.
Yeah, but
for a while, it was considered the most balanced map.
Yeah.
For a while.
Like, I heard people just say it was the least disliked map. It wasn't liked, it was the least disliked.
See, when Belshire came out, I went through this big phase where, Belshire, you mean Fat Ohana?
Yeah,
it's like, it's totally Fat Ohana. Guys, don't try and disguise it. We knew what you were doing. It's Fat Ohana.
It's a great map, though. And, I was going to say, it's still in Pro League anyway.
Yep.
The map, so it's not too old of a map. But yeah, I do miss Belshire.
And
I do miss
waiting to
Omaha.
join.
We got Scarlet.
Oh, Scarlet. I hear that person's pretty important, so we'll make sure she gets in there as well. And cool. Is this everybody? Well, if you've been promoted to host, I'm going to assume that's everybody. Ace of Scarlet, ladies and gentlemen, versus Empire's Cast. If you have a couple of seconds available, why don't you go ahead and get on Twitter, get on Facebook. Make sure you let people know that this event is happening. We're at twitch.tv/GFinityAlpha, and we're also at Gfinity on Twitter. If you want to contact either of the casters, where we should occasionally be able to check social media during. Well, I can do it during because you're observing, but you can do it after as well. Don't forget to go ahead and follow.
Yeah, it is PewDude, PUGHYDUDE.
And I am at Jarasar. But for now, guys, we've got the countdown incoming. Scarlet and Cass going to be going head-to-head here. Map number 1 is going to be Frost. Score prediction, go.
Oh, 2-1 Scarlet. I don't want to be like, 2-0. Easy peasy for... Because Cass is Cass.
I'm gonna go 2-1 Cass for the sake of being on the opposite team.
I love it.
Because when Cass was on the ball, he beat MMA.
Yeah.
And I'm like, come on! So let's see if that can happen. I confess I agree your result is more likely, but I'm totally rooting for mine.
I like that. Like,
yeah.
I'm thinking with my head, you're thinking with your heart this time.
It's true. All right, guys, we are here on Frost. We've loaded up into the game, so let's hop straight into it. Spawning in the bottom left-hand position as the pink Zerg player representing Team Acer. Can she follow in the footsteps of her teammate? It is Scarlet. She's going to be facing off against the red Terran player from Team Empire, spawning in the top right-hand position of Frost. Nice big map with huge cross positions here. Are we going to see macro play coming out of both players? How greedy will they get? Representing Empire, we have Cass.
Now, the map is Frost LE, which, as I was saying earlier, I'm not too surprised that this is the starting map. This is more often than not always the starting map. It's nice, easy, everyone knows it. It's, of course, the Team Liquid map making contest #2 winner. So it's a bit prestigious in that sense as well. And yes, it's a solid map, 4-player map. They don't know where each other spawns, even though they will be cross. So, probably a long game ahead of us as well, because obviously, cross positions gonna be harder to be aggressive.
Yeah, I think so. A lot of plays on this map just involve the more conservative, like we see, just really quick expansions coming out from a lot of players, and it looks like that Cass is going to be opting for that on this occasion as well, going up to 300 minerals briefly, and he will be plonking down that command center very, very quickly indeed. And a lot of this is just down to, especially when you're playing a Zerg player, Overlords getting to your natural expansion just take a long time, and Cass is actually going to be quite pleased to see that this is cross position as well, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Especially with the command center first on the low ground.
Yeah, just building it on the low ground. Gee, I hope he doesn't spot this. And luckily, Scarlet's not going to spot it. She'll be completely unaware until, I'd say, the Overlord on the bottom gets to the bottom right, because she's not actually sending out a drone scout.
No, definitely. No, I was hoping for maybe like a ballsy 3-hatch before pool there. But that's not the case. I was, something really greedy. She would be the one to do that.
Well, against Cass, that's not entirely a bad choice either, because Cass is just known as a sort of hang back and be solid and exploit where you spot sort of holes kind of person. And I think he's it's a good strategy against him. It's not something I'd discount.
That is really true about Cass. Same applies to Happy as well. They're just, when you think of like players and their game styles and what type of strategies and stuff they like to go for, Kaz is just solid. He goes for solid builds and revolves around mechanics, game decision, micros, just solid, pure, straight up legit play, and it's awesome to see. And but that also makes him predictable. He's
that is true.
You never really see Kaz cheese like a 2-rax or something like that, so it makes him more predictable. And of course, you can kind of force your opponent down a pathway where you can abuse that.
And right now, while Scarlet is inside the main base of the bottom right here, we'll spot that Cass isn't there, and that will tell her that he has in fact spawned cross positions. So she's going to be sending her first 2 lings up there. I wouldn't be surprised if she get one of them at the watchtower, so the northern watchtower a little bit later on as well. Worth noting that there is no gas being attributed to Reaper production this game for Cass. He is just continuing to make those Marines ASAP, getting instead his factory with the gas coming down, and he's going to be going very quickly into a 3rd command center. And if these lings, will these lings spot that? Nope, they're going after an SCB.
No, that was a very interesting time in there. Cass moving out with his 2 Marines. He's like maybe trying to pick off this this Overlord up by here.
Oh, and this will get spotted. This is just wow. Cass letting Scarlet in, seeing everything here. I would have preferred using these 2 Marines to sort of cover off the ramp so that they couldn't get up there. But clearly Cass being okay with it, saying, look, I'm going to go for a 3rd command center. What is your move at this point? And Scarlet, are we taking a hidden base? There's a drone moving out across the map.
I can't see where it's headed, though.
Interesting. I guess this is...
She just changed the location. I'm very tempted to see this. Yes, she's going for a hidden expansion at the bottom right.
All right. This is... Well, fair enough. I mean, Cass knows that... does Cass know that she spawned cross position? No, Cass has absolutely no idea at the moment. There are 2 Marines, actually, in the top part of the map, just going towards...
They were hunting an Overlord. It's flown out of the way now.
This is interesting, because if Cass hasn't scouted the main base of Scarlet yet, there's every chance that he will go to the starting locations in the bottom right and the top left, and that's exactly what he's doing with these two Hellions right now. Now,
That's
will he
well
turn
spotted.
around when he sees? Will he turn around when he sees lack of creep? Does he turn around at the ramp, or will he spot the hatch?
That's a good point.
He looks. There is no hatchery at the expansion. Is that enough for Cass to turn around?
It should be.
He's not moving up. I think he's not going to spot it. And in the meantime, the regular third is just being taken for Scarlet now.
Absolutely. And
She's going to get away with this base in the bottom right.
this is going to be so sneaky. Now, in terms of production stuff like that, we do have the double Evos, the Zergling speed, extra gas is being mined, and of course from Kaz we have more Hellions, Marines, and Stim in production with extra reactors. So, you know, he's going to hit his production cycles very soon. He's going to be able to produce...
Oh, Overlord goes down inside the main base as well of Cass, and that actually supply blocks Scarlet without an Overlord in production. That very annoying for our Zerg player.
Yeah, so she's got another like 15 seconds or so.
And a quick update, the Hellion has moved away from the bottom right base.
God, that would have been such a sick player. Like Kaz would be like, "Oh, that's lucky, isn't it?" if he scouted that, but he will not fall for that trick, unfortunately.
So there we go. A couple of Hellions now trying to be very annoying at the third base location. Scarlet currently is on 52 drones versus 47 SCVs as the situation currently stands. Both sides with those double upgrades coming down. Stim is actually nearly complete, but if we take a look at the units here, it's literally just 6 Hellions at this point. There's not going to be any sort of tactical push. Cass is really just looking to limit creep spread.
Yeah, the thing is, Cass right now he's like, what's going on? Like something's not right here. He's like, you know, your third is too late. You haven't taken the fourth. He knows that there's something wrong here and he can't figure it out, which is obviously going to be this hatchery down here in the bottom right.
Well, he's actually sending a Marine to the base he hasn't looked at yet as well, just in case it is there. I guess what would be called a potential 5th base location, but we'll be able to spot nothing. In the meantime, the hatchery has now been injected by the Queen. We've got a decent number of workers coming out of here for Scarlet. More and more incoming. She's going to be okay economy-wise as she moves up to 66 workers, and here come the Roaches to shoo away the Hellions.
Yeah, and of course Roaches do a great job against Hellions, so you know we can't really fight them unless you have mass numbers and something like Blue Flame, but that is not the case. We do have 1-1 in production with a missile attack, so it looks like actually the Hydra Den is in production, so she's gonna carry on going for ranged units, Hydra Roach, and probably add in some Vipers later on in the game.
And we see no sign of tanks or very much AoE damage coming out from Cass, so Roach Hydra not going to be thwarted that easily, even if they're clumped up here. We can see the natural 4th base location being taken from Scarlet as well, but Cass is going to have to move away from that.
Yeah, she's going up to 5 bases at 11 minutes.
Yep, I hear that's a thing. I hear that's a thing. So and she can possibly get away with being this greedy because first she scouted the early 3rd command center, but more importantly, she scouted that Cass has seen the 3rd base, has seen the 4th base. And because of that, she's going, well, my opponent's expecting me to take these bases. He's wondering where I'm spending my money. He's just worried I'll reveal my army.
Yeah.
But in actual fact, there's the hidden hatch. And we have more workers at it now as well. So Scarlet, just looking, wow, 84 workers, looking quite healthy.
Yeah, she's brought up to 16 on this base, so it's perfectly saturated. She might start to add on the gas later as it starts to dwindle on minerals. But, one Hydra does come out of this base, so she does have to be careful of stuff like that. Of course, you know, if, say, Cass had the watchtower and she routed units across the map, that could, give it away.
A lot of upgrades about to complete now, though, for Scarlet. We have Roach Speed, and I think Hydra Speed is complete now. We've got Group Spines on their way as well. So this could potentially be for a bit of a timing from Scar. We'll wait and see. I'm not sure about these Roaches out in the middle of the map. I think Cass might be able to catch them there. And a couple of stims later, these Marines actually doing quite a good job. Scarlet, though, is going to be able to move back on creep, and I think that means she won't have to engage. She'll be just about fast enough to get away.
Yeah, and Roach Speed did just finish up as well, so a nice little boost there. 20 more Roaches are in production. This is a lot of Marines, no Marauders, so there's no extra DPS here for those Roaches. And we have the fight coming, the nice concave from Cass. This could actually be a big deal breaker here for Scarlet. And wow, this concave is so good. The medevac's dealing a lot of damage.
Oh, 14 Roaches in production, but where are they at the moment? They're just trickling into the battle. So much DPS coming out of this army. The medevac's doing a great job of healing, but they're only on one side. It looks like it's just about going to be enough. And Cass moves away. Scarlet, in the meantime, mainly thanks to the economy as well, from the extra bases there, is back up to 175 supply already, making over 10 Roaches at once.
Yeah, and that looked like it was going. That was about an even trade there. It did look like Cass is taking the advantage because medevacs and stuff like that, reinforcements still cleaning it all up. And Cass is actually massively down in supply, and it just shows you how good Scarlet really is. This fourth base could get denied, but no, it doesn't get scouted until the last second, and it finishes up only to probably die as it floats away. No, 4 Hydras actually. I'm going to
Yeah,
pick that
maybe
up.
not quite enough for that. And Cass actually has to engage now because, or maybe it's not. I mean, a lot of Scarlet's supply, I was going to say, was sort of crawling across the map in reinforcements. So if they may be able to just about hold this here, but actually Scarlet has the greater numbers. And that was quite a close fight because if you had a couple of extra Marines doing DPS, it has a compound effect. But it actually looks like Scarlet might just break the front here.
And
I think this is game 1.
It could be, and of course, you know, this is near enough all off the back of that hatchery. Like, as you can imagine, she took like a massive greedy, greedy risk, and it paid off.
Greedy, risky.
Yeah.
Greedy risk. That's a pretty greedy risk, man.
Just about, and it paid off as good as risky as it was. So,
oh, no repair on the bunker as well, the natural expansion. And unfortunately, I think being in several places at once here is proving to be a challenge for Cass. A lot of work is going down now. He's down to 45 workers versus 85, and Scarlet is continuing resupplying. Cass's best chance of holding that off was as early as possible because a lot of Scarlet's supply was trickling across the map. But as it turns out, it was simply enough anyway.
Yeah, that macro hatch or the, you know, that hidden base, like it has like a very big snowball effect.
That's
like
exactly right. And congratulations there. Ace of Scarlet is going to be taking game number 1 from Empire Cass. Now, I do believe game 2 would be played on Europe.
No, it's
no. Are we sticking with NA?
Yeah, because she's in Korea. She's not.
Oh, pardon me. That's right. Yeah, Scarlet's in Korea at the moment, so we are going to have game number 2 and game number 3 if required on the North America server as well. So we'll just wait for that to get put up there. In the meantime, yeah, that game, seeing the third command center timing and going for the hidden expansion in the bottom right. What do you think of that from Scarlet?
That was really straightforward. She went for that hidden base, like built as many workers as she could, saturated it, and then just went all in pretty much. Like she had 5 hatcheries, 4 bases, like 8 gas, like 14 minutes.
It's quite a lot, and Cass didn't really do very much to shut that down as well. It was a little bit unlucky that Cass didn't spot the bottom right-hand base, I guess, because the Helene was there for so long. But also, aside from poking in a little bit onto the edge of the creep to try and limit the creep spread, Cass knew at which point Scarlet was going up to 4 bases. Was there ever a realistic attempt at taking out a hatchery? Not really.
The thing is
Cass sat back.
Yeah. Like I would put some of that down to the fact that I would say Kaz, because he got to a third. He had obviously the Hellions, and he sees the third, and it's like, wait, your third is so much later. And then he went checked the fourth, and he's like, there's no fourth. It's like, what's going on? And I don't know if he thought maybe a 2-base muta play was coming, 2-base all in of some sort, Hydra Nidus, who knows? And I think he played a bit defensively based on that, waiting for something. And she was playing greedy, so she took this greed to Kaz give her time, and she played greedier, and that was just hell of an attack. That was so many units, man.
It was, and partly because of the hidden base as well, the constant resupply from Scarlet just meant that it was a bit too much for Cass at the end. If he wasn't able to hold off at the beginning, he certainly isn't going to be able to hold off in the middle if the macro and the number of larvae available are going to be skyrocketing that high. So we're just waiting to load up the next map at the moment. It looks like Cass has chosen Altazim Stronghold, so opting, that's interesting, opting to go for another rather large map. Do you think Scarlet would be quite happy with that?
I don't know. I think so.
I mean, it's the largest map in the map pool, I believe.
Yeah.
So it's interesting that this is going to be the choice from Cass. I wonder if he has something in particular planned, because Zergs generally appreciate being on larger maps where they don't get scouted.
They do, yeah.
Very early on in the game. It just eliminates the likelihood of these early game cheeses. Yeah, interesting.
Did he beat Snoot on that map? I know he played Snoot on Altruism, and Snoot went Swarm Host, and he went Mech. And that was there was a big break.
It was, yeah.
As you can imagine why. So yeah, I'm a bit torn by this, because naturally the Zerg, is going to be like, hey, 4-player map, hell yeah.
I can't remember who won that particular map, because it was 2-1.
That's the
yeah, Cass was having a really solid week that time as well. I thought he was playing quite well. We're finally into the lobby though. Altazim Stronghold is going to be the next map, guys. You are watching the Gfinity Starcraft 2 Elite Division. I'm Jarosar. With me is Pewee, and it looks like we are in a position we can ask the players if they're ready.
Yeah.
So it's going to be pretty cool. We have GLHFs being exchanged.
Yeah.
And we're just waiting on Cass. So if you guys think that Cass will be able to come back from here and tie the series up, let us know. Is it going to be a 2-0 for Scarlet either? You can tweet at Gfinity. Make sure you go follow them on Twitter. And of course, you can check them out at Gfinity on Facebook as well. Looks like we're having a little bit of a delay at the moment with...
you might pop to the toilet or something.
Yeah.
And of course, you can go, follow these players, guys. Acer Scarlet is just Acer Scarlet.
Yep.
And Empire Kaz is...
I want to say Empire_Kaz, but let me just double check.
But I know he changed it. I can't remember if he
okay.
changed it to or from the underscore.
It has an underscore at the moment. I can confirm this.
So it's going to be Empire_Kaz, of course.
Yep.
And you can go follow him there. He just recently signed, recontracted with his team as well, Empire.
Yep. Very long-standing member of the team.
4 years nearly. I think this is going into his 4th year.
And super solid Terran player as well.
Yeah.
Just a joy to watch, to be honest. Yeah, we'll see how he ends up doing against Scarlet here. Scarlet so far showing us a very strong game number 1, taking advantage of Cass maybe not having as many units as he would normally have. Going for that earlier 3rd command center, sneaking in that hidden base, and then Cass not able to spot it, going up to 4 otherwise as well. Cass basically thrown off.
How often do you see Zergs take sneaky bases? Like,
they're not the easiest to defend when you're Zerg, man. I completely agree.
Look at creep, like it's so easy to spot them as well. You just like kind of have to go near it, and you're gonna see the creep, and you're gonna be like. But
on a map like Frost, you can just about get away with it. I think. You're of course more likely to get away with it on a larger map. And speaking of larger maps, ladies and gentlemen, we are now into the game on Altazim Stronghold, another map where plays like this are potentially possible. So let's go ahead and see what's going to happen. Spawning here in the top right-hand position of Altazim as the pink Zerg player. She represents Team Acer and is currently 1-0 up. Are we going to see a double whammy of Acer 2-0s this evening? It is Scarlet. And her opponent spawning in the top left position as the red Terran player, recently extending his relationship with the team that has given him so many great opportunities and he has played so well for as well. Representing Empire, guys, we have Cass.
Yep. Now back to the map, because like although Altruism Stronghold is the biggest map in the map pool,
yep.
Like I don't know the exact blocks, but it's very close to Frost anyway. It's very close. But like this map has like double mind games to it. One, it has the pocket expansion, so everyone's like, hey, pocket expansions, let's play as greedy as possible. But then everyone's like, hey, this has pocket expansions, everyone's playing greedy, that's all in. And because of that, you get a lot of really funky builds and strategies and stuff that comes from that type of thinking. It looks like the two players are gonna just go for the most greedy play.
I was about to say, unless you're Cass, where you go, ooh, expansion.
Yeah. Like I know Happy loves his expansions on this, but like I have seen a lot of very funky all-ins where they make it seem like it's a very fast expansion.
I hear Goody likes this map.
Oh god.
You're right though. I mean, it does breed. I would say between players that play each other quite a lot. I am thinking like GSL style kind of mind games. Scout your opponent early and go hyper aggressive.
Yeah, like
it doesn't look like that's going to happen though. I mean, for starters, guys, if you think about where Scarlet and Cass are, Scarlet's currently in Korea, but she's normally playing on NA. Cass is almost always playing in Europe, so they wouldn't have faced each other that often on ladder compared to a lot of other opponents. And for that reason, if you had a choice between mind gaming, going really aggressive against your opponent, or sitting back and playing the game you know how to play best, I believe these players would almost always choose doing what we love best. So it's no surprise to me here that we see hatcheries, of course, and we see that command center first coming out from Cass.
It does also kind of play into what we were saying about Kaz. When you think of Kaz, he's a solid player. What does a solid player do? They, when they can get away with it, they go for the command center first.
Yep.
And that's just what he's doing. Now, in terms of standard strategies that should follow up from this, we should see a reactor factory added on very soon. There's the factory, as I do say that. We will see the reactor as soon as he hits 50 gas. And of course, he's going to double produce those Hellions, get a bit of map awareness, fry some Zerglings if he can.
Yep. And there's no wall off as well at the Terran ramp. It's important to mention this because, of course, Cass is waiting for that reactor to come down. And there it goes. So that will complete the wall off, if anyone was wondering why the barracks is off to the left just a little bit. And in the meantime here, Scarlet is going to be able to scout that Cass is indeed to the top left-hand side. Really nice reactions there on the Overlord as well. Cass had no idea it was there.
No, I do believe that the Overlords have higher range, further range, side range. So
Well, certainly than supply depots.
absolutely.
So, yeah, really nicely played so far. We're going to get the Hellion productions to get started for Cass soon, though. What has he scouted? Now, like last game, we haven't seen a scout coming out from Cass so far. He has seen nothing beyond his ramp, and that's really important to know, because once these Hellions come out, actually, they're going to end up doing the job that the SCVs would have otherwise done.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, also something we should talk about is the fact that for Kaz to start dropping, it's going to be a lot easier to get into Scarlet space because her pocket expansion is towards his main.
That's a great point, yeah.
Whereas if it was the other way around, he has to kind of fly around, and it's it takes a little bit longer, harder to get away.
Yeah. It's the most difficult spawning position for Scarlet as well. Regardless of what race you are, you don't want to be expanding towards your opponent. The fact that it's a pocket expansion means there's only one way for your army to come in and defend it as well. So it can work both ways. And if Cass is really aggressive with his drop play, I totally see that happening. You're right.
Yeah, absolutely. So we do have Hellions. He looks like he's just going to go for a bit of standard. He's not going for like, blue flame, double fac, like all in type of crazy shenanigans. And he's just going to play Kaz. Legit solid play.
And the reason, guys, he's using his Hellions to scout around as well is because Cass isn't the kind of player who wants to do damage with the first couple of units. He wants to kind of ball up his units, make a little bit of a fist, and then go in with it and try and really punch his way into doing some decent damage. So he's happy to use his first two Hellions to scout just a bit and try and spot where his opponent is. As it turns out in this game, she's in the top right, and the third base has been scouted.
Yep. Now, we do have 4 gases being taken for Scarlet. No Lara or anything like that, and she is... Ooh, she's getting numerous carapace. Interesting.
All right, this could end up being fun. Looking forward to seeing how this ends up working.
I think that's just maybe to spot drops and stuff like that, but Kaz is going to come up here. There is a queen at the top of the ramp blocking it off, so they're not going to be able to run past that. And he won't lose a queen, sorry, a Hellion either, so doesn't lose anything for that trade there.
Going to be a little bit frustrating for Cass, though. I mean, if you invest this much money in Hellions, ideally you want to be killing something with it. And here comes 6 Hellions. Wow, the drone's actually getting pulled significantly earlier than we see from a lot of players from Scarlet, but that makes sure that the total number of workers killed is 0.
Yeah, and we do have 14 drones that were just produced. So if he wants, now would be the time to try and run up there and fry them right up. And did Cass go for a third CC? He didn't, so he's going very, very aggressive here. So
oh, no, he's got it just landed.
Oh, there we are. Okay, yeah. I was like, where is it? I was looking around. So yeah, it's got that. So he's gonna continue macroing up and try to play out a long game here, which you gotta be careful against Scarlet. She is going for 1-1 with the melee upgrade, so this is a good map for Lim Blim Muda. So that's going to be good. Of course, drops are going to be very, very ineffective there as well.
She's going to be able to hold them off for a bit as well, because 22 lings are in production to coincide with this. So, speedlings on creep. Those Hellions actually need to be a little bit careful that they don't get surrounded as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And the speed overlords flying around the base of Kaz, having a good little scout to see.
Oh no, the Hellions' envision of so many creep tumors and going, nope, we're not going to take those out. And now the queens are going to be able to step in and make sure that they stay alive as well.
And Kaz nearly loses a Hellion there. It's very low. Now, Scarlet doesn't also know about this base, and the speed overlord just flew over. So I don't know if she maybe saw the command center or if she has no idea, but maybe looking at the production and stuff might be like, okay.
Kaz now spotted the 4th base being taken. Now this is once again, needs to be careful at the 10-minute 30-second mark, and very nice there. A semi-surround, I would say, by those units allows Scarlet, very good double back there, allows Scarlet to pick off a couple of the Hellions early on. But a good mop-up by the Queens and a secondary push by the Lings means that all but one of the Hellions are now dead. And Cass, at this point, is going to be feeling very uneasy indeed. He cannot hold that map control with a single Hellion.
Yeah, absolutely no, especially against Banelands as well. But like, his supply is above Scarlet, so it's looking pretty good at the moment. He's really ramped up his production, so he's gonna have so many units. Oh my God, Jesus! Wow, I was not expecting that many. That's
1-1 is complete. The armory is about to finish as well. Do we see an immediate +2 somewhere coming out of Cass? We need to keep an eye on that, because actually he doesn't have very much gas at the moment.
No, he's up to 8 racks though. Yeah, which is a massive amount.
He's just going to stay on 1-1 and just try and push.
He could actually, yeah. He could non-stop keep our alien units across the map. He is stimming, trying to get a queen, and he will have to scan in a second to start denying this creep, because we know what Scarlet's like with her creep. You
Yeah,
don't want to
this
give her a chance.
this spread has actually been fantastic so far, and I love that as soon as the army is off creep, Scarlet, I think, does she have the creep spread selected at the moment? No, not quite. She's busy trying to work out where the heck this army is going to go. A double drop? Is it going to? No, actually, Cass rethinks that and decides against it.
Yeah, this is he's trying to force our location. Of course, between the third and the main, sorry, the third and the natural, you can really do some damage. But there is Mueller's out here, so he's got to start dropping the Marines. Otherwise, he's just going to lose them all for absolutely nothing. And he's got to be careful now because the aggression is going to start ramping up.
And here we go, that double drop trying to distract Scarlet. Here comes a scan to take out the creep spread. In the meantime, this is really where the show is going to begin because there are Widow Mines with this push as well. Cass is looking like he wants to be very, very aggressive, moving in towards a third base. And lots of Banelings, but will the Widow Mines take them out? Cass now, let's see.
He's got to split the Banelings rolling forward. There is no Baneling speed just yet, and the connections are pretty decent, but they are not all cleaned up, and the supplies are very even right now. It will all eventually get cleaned up as Kaz is forced to run away there, and of course, the units do come out for Scarlet. But that was a good trade, it's spot on even supply right now, and Kaz is a little bit ahead in the units lost right now, and he's going to lose a medevac, which is probably going to even it up. But no, actually, just about saves that one with the units in it.
Yeah, he's continuing at the moment to just keep his macro up. He's building a lot of units behind this as well, just non-stop production of Widow Mines and 10 Marines at a time, with some Marauders mixed in this time as well, it should be noted. So he's going to be able to tank a couple more of those Baneling hits with this follow-up push. However, a single medevac is with this army.
Yeah, so that is not a lot of healing there. Kaz is definitely going to have to split. Widow Mines are here, so he can borrow them, and if he gets good connections, that could nearly allow him to take out the third or something like that.
Well, it looks like this is going to get nipped in the bud sooner rather than later. Great micro there, forcing one of those Widow Mines to get the shots off. Second one is burrowing now as well, but that gets taken out by Baneling before it can do anything, and Cass is being completely pushed back. 149 supply versus 132, and Scarlet is all over this army, not allowing any of it to get away. This is a great victory for her, and I think if she spots the base in a 12 o'clock position, it's going to be a bit too much.
Yeah, and Kaz, he's not having the best of days. He's not feeling very well. And, fair enough, they're both playing on the North American server to limit the pin as much as possible. But, there's certain races which benefit a little bit more. It's harder to split against, a Zerg with lag, whereas Zergs, they're a bit more A-movie.
Yeah.
They're not, it's...
Well, he's not happy. He's Cass. Glad we sorted that one out. All right, so we've got Mutas coming in for Scott. You're right, though. I mean, at the end of the day, a little bit of lag certainly affects the player that has to split all the Marines.
Yeah.
A bit more. But I have to say, the Mutas actually made the difference in that battle.
It really did.
The army got overrun not because of two huge Baneling hits that could otherwise have been avoided, but because the Mutas were just a little bit too overwhelming, in my opinion. And, oh, this base has been spotted. It is a planetary fortress, but as soon as these missile turrets get taken out, look at all those juicy mules. Good decision to bring the army back here. That's a lot of minerals that Cass wants to keep.
And we have another engagement in the center of the map. Baneling's getting some decent connections. The Marines are pulling back. Mutas are coming here to maybe intercept some of the units, but no, the Marines waiting there will scare them off. And too right, as well as those Marines, or those Mutas cannot fight those Marines.
171 supply for Scarlet versus 190 for Cass. He's actually doing fine in those terms. And he's in the process of getting +3/+3 as well. 2/2 is complete for him. He's been really diligent with his upgrades. No +3 armor at the moment, though.
He's doing great, actually. He's adding the Thors as well. Solid anchor point for the army.
This is what we were talking about, how solid he is. He really is just... he is that dependable to get into a decent endgame. He's got the upgrades. He's got the death ball. And now this is the kind of point where if you just get 4 or 5 Banelings into the middle of the army, I concede that, no matter how good a player you are, you don't want to be losing that many Marines at once and still fancy your chances. But he's mixing in some Thors at the moment as well, and he's got great spread on his Widow Mines.
He really does. Now, he is moving forward. The Mutas look like they want to turn around, and here comes the engagement. Looked like a decent split at the beginning there for Kaz, and everything's rolling in. It looks like this will all eventually get cleaned up. And so will the medevacs fall as the Mutas do come in there. But that was a decent trade there. That was not a stomp in there for Kaz, and he's still gonna GG.
Wow, well, it's going to be a little bit too much there for Kaz. I mean, he was ahead in supply and then dropped all the way down to 130 versus 180 for Scarlet. So Scarlet doing really well in the engagements there. Kaz, though, his macro behind his pushes. was just phenomenal.
Yeah.
I mean, you saw even after that failed first engagement, he was doing a fantastic job where, to put it bluntly, he was just continuing to make SCVs, making sure he was dropping mules really promptly. He had a lot of barracks up very early on, knows when that money is going to come in. And unfortunately, that engagement there, just going 60 supply down pretty quickly, really swung the tide in Scarlet's favor, which means Scarlet is going to win that series 2-0.
Yeah, definitely. So that was unfortunate. That like also Kaz does have. He did ask if his games could be postponed. He said he had a terrible headache or something.
Yeah.
But you know, we're at a point now where we're trying to obviously. It was meant to be 5 weeks games. We've had a few scheduling issues and stuff like that, so we have or might be delaying it an extra week as well.
Yeah, it's a little bit unfortunate that's had to happen. But
Yeah.
you know, at the end of the day, there are games to play. The tournaments can't really be shifted. So well done to Cass for playing through that, but also for demonstrating to us that even though he did lose those games, he put up a really nice macro-based fight.
He did.
Scarlet, though, a little bit too much for Cass this evening, and she does come out on top. What does that mean for these results tables? First of all, Cass was on 6 points. He remains on 6 points at the moment. He has now played all 5 of his games, and matches rather, and he would have won 2 and lost 3. Scarlet, on the other hand, moves up from 3 points to 6. She will then go up to 3 matches played rather, with 2 wins and a loss. So she's going to be pretty happy moving into positive territory and moving into contention for getting into the prize money.
Yeah, definitely. And you know, she didn't have the best starts.
No, unfortunately not.
And she also did get cheesed as well against Snoot. I don't know if you saw that. That was.
I vaguely recall.
It was like a. What was it? It was a 10 pull Baneling all in.
Yep.
No, it was a 9 pull against a hatchery first. So he done damage and then he followed it up with a Baneling all in. And
I remember the Banelings. Yeah.
And then
about that game.
And then he done like it was it a 2-base Baneling cheese against a 2-base muted cheese that she was going for, and he managed to take it.
All right. Well, the last match of the evening coming up, guys, is going to be another TVZ. It will be. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. We are here with the final match of the evening here at the Starcraft 2 Elite Division of G-Affinity. We have Liquid Snoot going up against Acer's MMA, who is making a second appearance here this evening.
Yeah, and this is actually a legit good series. Like Snoot at the moment is playing on fire.
Yeah.
Like, you know, he took up Chachi. You were just saying one of your favorite players.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, he took him out.
Chachi, no.
He took him out WCS and got first in his group, which is very impressive. You know, especially if you think of it, he's a Royal Roader in a sense. It's his first WCS Europe tournament. And that was also a Terran. This is a Terran, and this is going to be great.
We'll see if he can do it, guys. Map number 1 is going to be Habitation Station, and we've already loaded into the game, so let's go ahead and introduce our players. In the top left, we have, as the blue Terran player, representing Team Acer. He won his match 2-0 earlier on in the evening. He's going to have to do it all again. Can he do it against the Zerg player this time? Let's find out. He's MMA. And his opponent in the top right, representing Team Liquid.net. Absolutely on fire in WCS. Can he carry that momentum into G-Finity? It's Liquid Snoot.
And he's on fire in general. You know, it's been, is it only a month since? No, is it 5 weeks since the Seed Story Cup that he won?
Oh, yes, and
it was like either a month or 5 weeks ago.
Yeah, and that definitely wasn't a weak lineup either. I mean, he did really, really well to win that.
Oh.
And
okay. He's going to proxy at the tower, is he? Go on, show me that proxy.
We'll keep an eye out. And, yep, there we go. So, correctly called there, Pewee. We've got the Barrafix coming in at the tower here for MMA.
Yeah. And we have actually a second SCV, so it's going to be a legit straight-up 2x.
Guys, this is going to be a quick game. And, of course, you might be wondering, well, hang on a second, he's at the tower. I mean, you can see everything from the tower, right? Why would you do that? It's exactly for this reason, ladies and gentlemen. Snoot, MMA knows that Snoot would send an Overlord over early on, so it doesn't want to proxy these barracks too far north. At the same time, he's predicting that there isn't going to be an early drone scout, so the tower is actually quite a nice place to put these barracks down. And Snoot, well, how long is it going to be before he realizes the jig is up? He hasn't sent the Overlord down south yet, so he doesn't have vision of the ramp.
But he's going to pull first.
He's going to pull first.
Maybe he's anticipating this to some extent. It's obviously very hard to say. I know he's been playing a lot more Well, he actually didn't go pool first against Jarchi on Heavy Rain.
I confess I don't quite recall that. He's checking the gases now. Sees no gas has been taken. He's going, hang on a second, there's no Reaper here. And there is a supply depot. And what's in the And now, yep, wow. He's in panic mode now because he just saw all the SCVs get pulled. There are a grand total of 7 coming across the map and 8 lings in production. Snoot knows exactly what's coming.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, if he cancels his hatchery without losing it, that's fine at this point. You know, the drones are coming, and we have Zerglings already down here. Spine Crawler's already in production in the main, so you can easily uproot that, run it back down into the natural. This Overlord does have to be careful, doesn't want to fly over the Marines to get picked off, but it looks like as the SCVs come in, oh, this is actually going to be a bit of a dice.
Yeah, that's a lot of SCVs. Every single drone coming off the line now for Snoot. 0 drones mining. He really wants to surround and kill this off. Fantastic positioning from the Marines, though. Is this going to be the correct decision? He's down to 15 supply, and it looks like MMA might be able to pull this off. Hold position on the SCVs. Does fantastic job here, and we need to get that Spine Crawler down. This is so tense right now, but MMA is at 19 supply to 12.
Spine Crawler is borrowing. There's no Queens out just yet, and the Spine Crawler might make a big difference if that finishes up. And especially if it, well, actually, there's enough SCVs where you can just grab another one and finish the bunker. So this is going to be very interesting.
This is, it's a tough position for Snoot to be in, to be honest, because he had no drones mining for quite a long time. The hatchery is now at half health, and SCVs are going to continue to repair it. So really, the clock is ticking on Snoot's side at the moment. I'll say that 3 times fast. And MMA at the moment, I mean, with this many SCVs, he has 3 plus a mule at home. This is, it's looking okay for the Terran.
There's the natural getting picked off. Of course, that means the Spine Crawler will eventually have to, you know, uproot and get away. But actually, MMA doesn't give the Spine Crawler the chance to do that. It's just going to go for it, and we're going to actually see GG probably very soon as MMA.
No Spine Crawler started in the main.
Yeah, right. That was amazing.
That was really, really well handled. MMA knew when the Overlord came in that he'd have to pull this many SCVs as well. I don't think he recognized that I can just go in with a couple Marines and win this, because Snoot is pretty solid in that way. But he handled this 11-11 very, very well indeed, and he's trying to force these drones to go to the round. And it doesn't look like it's going to be enough. It doesn't look like it at the moment. 22 supply versus 10, and Snoot, ladies and gentlemen, GG's. MMA wins game number 1, and well, what an aggressive game it was.
That was a very interesting game. There was a couple of things that shouldn't have happened, like that positioning, for example, coming out of MMA. That was amazing positioning.
Yep.
That's
it. The second bunker being within range of the Spine Crawler and it not mattering also comes back to his decision to pull the additional SCVs from his mineral line. Overlord comes and he goes, okay, Snoot is going to go. Maybe if Snoot started getting into defensive mode 20 seconds later, maybe he wouldn't have had to pull so many. But as it stood, he went, well, I want the strategy to win now. I'm going to have to commit to it properly. And that's when he pulled the SCVs. And it paid off for him in the end. Just, you're right, fantastic positioning was the name of the game there.
And yeah, the other one that shouldn't have happened, like, that was just a couple of things that shouldn't have happened. Like, that shouldn't have been a pull first to begin with. So that was very intelligent coming out of Snoot there. So I'm guessing he was anticipating that to some extent. But that positioning out of MMA, that was so good. And of course, you know, if there's some new viewers here who don't know exactly how that happened, he obviously had the Marines. He had 2 bunkers like that. He had the Marines by there, and then he had the SCVs in front on a hold command, so that they would not get attacked.
The whole position was huge. Like there were several seconds where the drones and the Zerglings basically weren't doing any damage. So that was really, really good.
That's the thing, because the way the AI works is everything's going to go after the Marines they're attacking, and the SCVs on hold obviously stop them doing so. So there's literally just the Marines dealing damage, and it's guaranteed damage. And like, obviously you can't do that forever when you're just losing your units.
Exactly right. We've got ready from MMA. Snoot, looking like he's gone to grab some water or something. We will we'll just wait for his go and then come back. What is MMA going to be doing on game number 2? Snoot has picked Altazim Stronghold. Definitely not an expected 11-11 map.
Yeah, that doesn't mean it can't happen. It's just quite a low chance of it actually happening.
Yep, that's true. It looks like he's ready now. We're going to start the countdown, ladies and gentlemen. So let's get into the game. I'm really excited to see on map number 2 if MMA is just going to sit back and macro up, or we're actually going to see like a really exciting long game between these 2 players.
It's kind of interesting. Kaz picked this map when he was playing against the Zerg. and
Yep.
Snoot is picking it playing against the Terran. So both a Terran and a Zerg picking it in the same matchup.
I think it might come down to styles as well.
Yeah,
Because Snoot not wanting to be cheesed and Cass just really favouring that solid style.
Those are
Kind of
two
two
points.
completely different reasons, but
Yeah.
zeroing in on the same map. I completely agree. Guys, we're in Altazim Stronghold, so let's hop into the game. We're in the top right position, spawning as the blue Zerg player. He's been absolutely on fire recently, but he's currently a game down. Can he come back and level the series? Representing Team Liquid, it is Snoot, who's going to be playing against the red Terran player in the bottom left-hand position. He represents Team Acer, perhaps knowing that his opponent is on a pretty hot streak of late, opting to cheese, and with excellent positioning, taking game number 1. Can he do the same twice in a row and claim the series 2-0? It is Acer's MMA.
Yeah, and also to point out, we mentioned it briefly earlier. In the first game that Snoop played, he played for GG, and that was on Frost LE in the first game, and he 2-raxed him on that map. So 2 series out of 3 so far against Terrans that he's been cheesed and lost.
Yep.
So
It's a little bit unfortunate there for him.
Yeah.
But he's a player who's capable of rebounding well. Snoot is a very, very emotional player.
Yes.
And you can see it. There's like the outbursts of emotion when he wins, absolutely crushing defeats. You can really, he wears his heart on his sleeve, this guy. But of late, especially in tougher tournaments, I have seen him sort of, I wouldn't say temper his emotions, but definitely deal with them a lot better. And I think part of that is how he was able to be honest, the last time he was cheesed like that, able to try and come back and win the series. He's got that mindset now, where it's a little bit easier for him to go ahead and do that. And I think he should be okay. MMA, of course, playing the classic cheese into let's hope you're over-defending and very cautious because I'm going to go command center first this time around.
Yeah, definitely. Now, everything's going to be pretty standard. We saw this pretty much like 2 games ago. Kaz and Scarlet. He's going to go, he's gone for the command center. He's going to go for a reactor factory, get those Hellions out as fast as possible.
Yep.
With this, he can scout, get some map control, fry up any Zerglings if they're out in the field, and if the opportunity presents itself, he can do a run by and maybe fry a bunch of drones.
Yep, for sure. I mean, bear in mind that when it was done earlier tonight, it was just a little bit more passive from Cass. I don't think he really ever got into any mineral lines and fried anything up. But he did get the units out, and he was posturing on the edge of creep. I'd like to see from MMA maybe a little bit of an advancement from that, trying his best to like circumvent moving around queens a little bit, trying to get into the bases. That said, when Cass played early tonight, Scarlet's defense was fantastic though, and her queens did a good job. So it's not all Cass. Scarlet did great as well, but I'd like to see MMA be a bit more aggressive.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know. Let's see, we've got 1 gas, only 1 gas. Okay. So I was wondering maybe like something really funky. I would like to see something like a 2-reactor blue flame Hellion build or something.
Yeah. Okay. It could be a thing.
Yeah, you know the ones where they just they pump up like 14 to 16 Hellions and just run across the field and kill everything.
Yeah, it's I mean, it's certainly possible. I don't think it's the kind of thing that MMA would necessarily favor. I'd love to see him do it though, because I just want to see his micro executing it. That would be awesome. But so far, got the reactor about to complete. Factory's also about to complete here for MMA. Everything looking pretty hunky-dory. Speed has just started as well for Snoot. So while those Hellions will be able to get that map presence and that map vision, Snoot's going to be able to start spreading a little bit of that creep, knowing that if the Hellions overextend, he might be able to get us around.
Yeah, and also to point out, because obviously MMA just won the last game, he's 3-0 so far tonight, so he can actually close it out with just 4, like a perfect night.
Yeah, it's true.
Ooh.
He's looking for it, and we have got, well, the Starport to follow this up here.
Yeah, and also Kaz went for a faster 3rd CC, so yeah, we're going to see slightly different timings. Kaz went for, I think, the CC, 2 racks reactors, swapped the factory with the Starport, went for a standard bio timing with his double upgrades. This is going to be...
Wings of Liberty?
I don't know if it's not going to be Hellion. Sorry, it's not going to be Banshee, I don't think. So maybe just Hellion drops and a lot of Hellions.
I don't know. I mean, no, there is the
Oh,
Banshee. I
there's the
mean,
Banshee.
we did have the tech lab there, so I was kind of waiting for it. And we've also got the cloak immediately started for MMA as well. So he's gonna look to try and get a lot of harassment damage early on. And you know what? this is great because I was saying how MMA wanted to. I'd like to see MMA be a bit more aggressive.
Yes.
This is the perfect sign of him doing just that.
Definitely, yeah. I started picking, like, when you said that, I started to look around. It's like, okay, what's he going? And I was like, oh, no third CC. So normally, no third CC, you add on extra production, go for a very nice attack. 2 eBays getting added on that at the top of the ramp. Is that
Great positioning there. Oh, wow. Look at Snoot, leaving nothing to chance. The 2 evolution chambers also on the top of the ramp. You think the queens were big, blocking them off. Well, guess what? We only need one of them at the top there. And now the third hatchery is going to get harassed just a little bit. Don't think it's going to get cancelled. More Hellions are joining the fray now, though. And, ooh, crucially, I love this. Snoot sending in the Overlord, guys, as the Hellions pop by to see exactly what is going on. We'll spot that the Banshees are coming. Note, by the way, that we have cancelled Cloak.
he did he? Oh, that's pretty smart. But do you see what else is in production? We have 2 factories.
Yep.
So
and this has been seen completely by Liquid Snoot.
And we do have 1-1 upgrades coming out of Snoot, including the melee upgrades. So it looks like he wants to go for probably Limb Muda, which this is actually a great map for it. So can't blame him doing that at all.
Still trying to do a lot of damage on this third base. Needs to be very careful. It's down to just over a quarter health right now. And Snoot has to station a lot of queens here. There are actually 5 on the low ground. He's a little bit supply blocked at the moment thanks to that Viking that popped out inside the main base of MMA. He's got 5 Overlords on the way, though. He will be able to compensate for that as the Viking goes Overlord hunting. And he's not pulling everything back just yet. He's only had the one Overlord killed off. It looks like he's just going to leave the rest.
Yeah, no, actually, MMA hasn't lost anything just yet. There's only been like a bunch of Zerglings and stuff like that killed. So we got 1 drone, 3 Zerglings, and an Overlord. So not much. Queen taking a little bit of damage there. That was the Queen with the most energy, so nice target fire out of MMA, because that is the one you would like to kill.
Yep, and in the big scheme of things, that's not actually that much lost for this stage in the game when you realize you're able to hold off the harassment as well. So Snoot has to be feeling relatively comfortable. He's 65 to 55.
He's got 12 Hellions as well.
12 Hellions. He might go full Daishi.
Oh god.
It could happen.
It could. Another Overlord will get picked off here. Not the biggest of deals right now.
He's got Overlord speed as well, so if he needs to pull everything else back, he could. But he actually just prefers having the scouting vision there and just making this Viking do all the work right now. MMA is putting that Viking to work, though. That said, he's going to cross pass with both of these Overlords down here in the bottom right position. He's going in again now with a lot of Hellions, all 12 of them involved in this attack.
And he has, Snoot has to be so careful if the Zerglings stack up anyway. They're not going to stand a chance against that many Hellions. As easily could fry the entire pack, and we do have a double expansion, which is very intelligent, as he is going for mutas. So of course, he can draw his opponent over here, over there. Either way, one of the expansions will be okay.
Snoot once again supply blocked, and I don't think he anticipated that Viking really going to work so much. How many kills does Viking have? 3 kills at the moment, all of them Overlords. These Hellions still continuing to harass, and you're right, these mutas are going to be able to give Snoot that map control that he craves. And once he gets that map control, he should be able to defend this double expand.
Yeah, the mutas do get spotted quite a way in advance there, and more Overlords getting picked off yet again. How many freaking Overlords has this dude killed? He killed
5. Oh, 4. There we go.
That's a good Viking there.
Yeah, really, really good Viking. Actually, supply blocked Snoot twice.
That's a huge deal.
Bear in mind as well that the only thing these mutas have to accomplish is to give Snoot time to consolidate his 5 bases. If he's able to do that, then these mutas, if they do no damage at all, they can still be really, really good. And I think that as long as they keep a meching MMA out of the middle of the map, he can macro up to his heart's content and try and get up to his hive tech.
This push from MMA, though, is going to be so scary.
It is, but it will take a little bit more time before he pushes out. He's only at 136 supply at the moment. Typically, mech players don't try to go until they're roughly, I'd say, about 160 tends to be that magic number.
It's normally about 16 minutes he wants to hit for. This is going to get scary, especially if mutas, it's going to come down to an absolutely stellar engagement from Snoot. His Banelings have got to connect to the Marines, the mutas have got magic box, the Zerglings have got to zone out some other units. Pick up some Thors if they can. There's even tanks here. So
let's not forget, though, if MMA moves out across the map in such a way that there aren't really, that it's really difficult for him to reinforce, there are only 2 Thors. In a couple of minutes, you can make a lot of mutas.
Yeah.
And if you can kill the Thors, actually, you can take the rest of the army head on. So MMA, it's not quite smooth sailing for the Terran player at the moment. He does have to be careful and really think about his composition as well. And that's why, ladies and gentlemen, look at this. We see 11 Marines pop up. Take a look back into the main base. Look at all these barracks. He knows he needs that anti-air support.
Has he even got his stim? Yeah, he has. Okay, so he is going for a bit of biomech just in case.
And I think he needs to do this against this many mutas because the time spent out in the middle of the map is so huge on Altazim that you just give Snoot a lot of time to repair. And Zerg tech switches are deadly, man.
They are. And of course, the mutas, they regenerate. You know, he can clean up an army, lose a lot, or take a lot of damage on his mutas, and regenerate nearly by the time they get to the MMA's base. The Hellions have done a great job as well of, keeping an eye on the map. He hasn't really lost that many either. Considering how many times they've been caught out of position and stuff. And this command center could get picked off. All the Zerglings will get completely destroyed here. And yes, it will get picked off, as there is not enough anti-air there to scare them away.
And MMA, that actually supplies block him a little bit as well. But, he's at 195 supply. It doesn't matter too much. A lot of Marines, a lot of Thors, and he's got SCVs to repair them as well coming in. But is Snoot going to be able to defend in time? He's getting swarm hosts. So he's going to try and keep these bases alive with those good old classy free units that Zergs love so much.
Absolutely. And he does have 20 seconds, so they will be out. But, the fifth base, the fourth base, they're quite far apart. He can't defend them both with swarm hosts, so one could easily get picked off here.
That is the difference between smaller maps and a map like Altazim, where you can see this push coming. You have time to try and rally those swarm hosts to a half-decent location as well. These Banelings aren't here to try and kill the army, although if they kill a couple of units, that's great. They're here to keep him back so he can get his swarm hosts in position, guys. Make no mistake about that. And here they go at the bottom of the ramp now. He is burrowing them, and we're getting ready to free unit it up. Ooh, I don't want the Banelings in the front of that, but... All right, there we go.
They're going after the Thors. Locusts do finish off the first one. The second one does now full tanks in the background, dealing a lot of splash damage to the units on the ground. And the Thors will eventually push the mutas back. And that was just a trade for a trade. The fourth or fifth base does get picked up. And look at the units lost. MMA's having an amazing engagement here. 23 units lost for 111.
We need to be a little bit careful about that, though, because... now the swarm hosts are coming into play. It could get a lot more dicey very, very quickly for the Terran player. Nice pickup by that medevac. Is it actually going to get out of there? Will he be able to drop on the high ground? There are two Hellbats in here.
They Hellbats?
Nope.
Okay.
No, they're not.
Okay, I thought they were tanks. Alright, so that was an interesting engagement. They both traded, but economically, Snoot was hurt off the back of that, so he's going to have a harder time reinforcing or macroing up following this on. So.
Well, he's already got 80 workers. I mean, on 4 bases it's okay because his main base... Is his main base mined out? Not quite yet. No. So, I think he should be okay for now in this counterattack. Oh, Banelings off a creep can be quite slow, but if the Marines have to turn around to fire at the mutas, not quite enough. He needs to seriously not overextend with the swarm host, though. That is the big thing. Yeah.
Obviously, of course, against Bio as well. They're so fast. They can easily track them down and just obliterate them. And, of course, instant scans. This Banshee is coming up here to... probably get picked off by these. No, is there a spore? Yeah, okay, that's the spore.
He's coming up there to get picked off by the spore. That's a pretty depressing Banshee, man. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, like I couldn't tell if that was
Altazim, where Banshees go to die. And oh, good God, we were talking about that stimming in so quickly and losing a lot of those swarm hosts. They're trying to waddle back home. There are only 6 of them left alive. So to be fair, losing 3 of the initial 9, not as bad as it could have gone there for Snoot, but. He's going to want to think about that creep spread a little bit more and trying to not be in range of that army. There's nothing to protect them.
Yeah, and he's also down on upgrades as well. He didn't, he went for a limbo.
Snoot. Oh, don't do this, Snoot. Okay. He was moving them towards the bio again. It's just, no, stop it. Don't do it.
And MMA is kind of anticipating this mutable coming down to pick off this base, and he's already stimmed his units here to get ready. How fast are Snoot's reactions? Pretty fast. That doesn't lose. Did he lose a muta there?
Well, 1 in the big scheme of things isn't going to be too big of a deal for him at the moment. And wow, I think Snoot wants to break this space because 30 Banelings are incoming.
Oh God! So this is going to be interesting. The mutas are coming down as well. There is another command center, but there's only 2 turrets, and that is not very many here. The Marines are here to try and defend this, but they're going to get absolutely destroyed. And this is a planetary, so it cannot lift off and fly away. SCVs should try and stay close just in case they can repair it, but actually the mutas will get forced away. And there is a drop also at the newly established 4th base, and it looks like it could get picked off yet again.
That's right. This
Banelings.
This hatchery might go down. It depends on the Wow, God, that's a lot of Banelings. I don't think it's going down anymore. Oh my goodness, that's about the biggest reaction to a drop you could possibly see. The Swarm host here, they're trying to keep the army sort of pegged down to this 4th base, and if they can do that, Snoot might be able to do some sort of cool counter-attack. MMA though, I mean, in the meantime, he's just actually holding quite solid. He's getting weapon level 3 for his mech as well, in addition to his bio.
He's just duping the mutas here. He just literally flew all the way down to the bottom with the medevac and flew it back up.
Just for fun.
Yeah, there is another medevac with 7 Marines. They're already kind of hurt, so he does have to be careful. There is a 6th base being taken by here as well at the 3 o'clock position. So, you know, Snoot is macroing up very, very well, but he is against a 5 base Terran, which is quite scary.
Yeah, he's building up a bank at the moment, but if I were Snoot right now, I'd be focusing on just a couple more hatcheries, getting that production capability, and so that if a quick tech switch can win in the game, it will. Right now, oh dear, this bio is going awfully close to the Swarm host, and the scan, not quite enough to see all of them, but does see a couple. He knows that the Swarm hosts are there, and ooh, that looks nasty. Is he going to be able to prevent this with those Banelings? He's pushing the army back. It doesn't look like it's quite enough, though. The bio's here. He needs to run away. He's burrowing the Swarm host again. This is a risky play, but he does push MMA away.
Yeah, like it felt like he had that, but he is going to take lose his 4th base in return. It does eventually get picked off here, and actually, I think a bunch of workers have been picked off by
Man, that's a brave bunch of volunteers going over there to drop the 4th base. What happened to the previous guys? They ran into 30 Banelings. Okay, let's go.
That moral support.
Yeah, that's there's some serious nutters on that medevac, man, and that medevac is actually going to go down as well. So, managing to take the base down, though, is MMA.
Oh, is he going to try and drop onto the Swarm host? This is a great move. Of course, they have no anti-air. The Queens are here, and he is going to start dropping them. This Locust are too far behind to be able to stop this. And, of course, Swarm hosts are pretty fast, and especially on creep. So, they do just run away, reburrow, and here are more Locusts.
Snoot is now using the Swarm host, though, and actually, to an extent, these Banelings, as a way of just keeping MMA on his half of the map until the Ultras come out now, though. He's taken bases 6 and 7 now as well. The 4th base is being reconstructed.
Yeah, he's taken a base. Let's just say that.
Yeah, so that's going to be... he just wants to stall for time right now. The Mutas are going to be useful support units. The Swarm hosts are great, and the fact that the scans haven't killed them off is fantastic. And the Banelings are there to say, MMA, you're not going to be able to just stim up on top of the Swarm hosts and kill them without me having a say about it first. And here come the Ultras. Let's see. A scan sees all the Swarm hosts, but once again, MMA can't engage them because there's just too much other stuff here.
But this is a pretty good engagement for both of them. Once again, just trading army for army, and this is a hell of a slugfest.
It really is. 2,800 and 1,100 gas plays 700 and 1,800 as far as the banks go, with the larger mineral count going towards Snoot at the moment. So MMA actually really busting it, mainly due to that bioproduction, 14 Marines coming out at a time. More Banelings being morphed in from Snoot, and his creep spread is so commendable right now. It's actually getting very, very close to being really in MMA's face here.
Yeah, definitely. Some of the Swarm hosts are getting picked off. Banelings are morphing in, will finish up, but they don't roll into the fight. And, oh man, this is not going to be a good fight. Some of them rolling in. MMA does split, but he's a little bit late there, and he picks up some of the units, as he does pick off all the Swarm hosts, or near enough all of them. One does remain.
All right, well played. And Snoot, instead of actually transitioning into a more ultralisk heavy composition to attempt to deal with this army, he's actually going back into Swarm hosts. And if he's doing that, I actually thought he should have maybe uprooted and got them back a little bit early. Oh no, there's one Swarm host. Don't give yourself away. He's giving himself away, and one pair of Locusts. Dope. Yep. See, there you go. That's what you get when you play hide and seek with someone who is scan, man. It doesn't work. So 9 more Swarm hosts incoming here for Snoot. It looks like that wants to be a big part of his endgame plan, but he needs to really not lose the ones he has left.
Yeah, and this is a scary push. There's so many command centers and stuff like that available for MMA. He's got so many scans to clean up this creep, and Snoot has put a lot of effort into getting this creep, and this is Altruism Stronghold. He's nearly got it to his opponent's 3rd base.
So far, though, I think it's worth noting that MMA has basically, with the exception of the drop at the 4th, although actually even that was quite isolated, he's only really attacked in one place at a time. Can you imagine if MMA was dropping in 3 different locations?
Yeah.
That would have been so frustrating, especially with Snoot's Swarm house out in the middle of the map. He hasn't done that yet, though. He's looking for the in-your-face push, mainly because he has so much mech with his army.
Yeah, definitely. It's like the old school MLG Anaheim against Losira, isn't it? When he was dropping like a madman.
Oh wow, that was
glorious, wasn't it?
that takes me back, man. Lasira and MLG, yeah, those were some fun games. Unlike if all of these swarm hosts casually disappear off the face of the earth, needs to be so careful. He is burrowing, trying to use the ultras to buy time. But Snoot at the moment, oh wow, those were some surprisingly good Baneling connects, and I don't think MMA was expecting that. He is down to 139 supply, and Snoot all of a sudden catches his opponent overextending a little.
And he does. Thor's getting picked off. Ultras, of course, they Ultra Thor, Muta, sorry, not the Thor, Baneling, they just deal so much splash damage and stuff like that. Like, one mistake and that is it. Your army is dead. Planetary does get picked off here, a defensive Planetary.
A couple of the orbitals out in the middle of the map actually in danger of going down as well. I just want to point out too that a lot of Zerg players, when they get rebuffed and held back by Terran players, or in fact by players of any race, they tend to go, well, I spread my creep before, it's been taken apart, not really going to be able to spread anymore anytime soon. Snoot is having none of that. He is continuously spreading creep with the queens he has with this army, and as a result, he's going to be able to use his queens as part of the attack if he keeps going.
Yeah, I gotta give him credit. He's really like taking a page out of Scarlet's book here. But here we have maybe the final engagement as MMA is dropping in supplies. The tanks again completely destroyed here as the Ultras are running forward. The Baneling's catching anything that may have gotten missed by the Ultras, and of course with the SimCity he cannot really fight into this, so he does have to turn around. But it looks like he wants to go for the orbitals. And is he gonna get one? Yes, he will.
Such patient play coming out of Snoot here.
Supplies.
Using the Swarm Host and Banelings to delay until he got a good number of Ultralists out on the field. There have been one or two mistakes. Losing those initial 9 Swarm Hosts was a bit painful, because if you imagine that, he'd have overwhelming numbers right now. But I have to say, he's just played this great. MMA at the moment, I mean, he's got those sensor towers up. He can see exactly where the army is. And you know what? Seeing where the army is doesn't seem to be mattering too much right now.
No, it looks like he is going to continue committing forward, and there's so many Banelings, the Ultras, there's next to no army left, and if he breaks this little pack of units, he can get onto the production and start camping it, which will nearly guarantee a win here.
That doesn't look like it's going to be enough. Still Ultras moving inside the main base now. Do we have any splash damage to defend? Doesn't look like it. GG! And Team Liquid Snoot, ladies and gentlemen, takes a very impressive 31-minute game number 1 against Acer's MMA. Number 2, pardon me, to level the series. What an incredible game. And that was the kind of game we were hoping for after the end of game 1.
Exactly. Literally the next words out of my mouth. He played great. That was really good game. Obviously, a lot of trades, like especially like up until until that really big engagement, just before it started to snowball, like they were literally just trading armies. They weren't earning, well, every now and then MMA was getting some damage done, but it wasn't a massive amount. Like, when you're on 8 bases and you lose one, it doesn't matter.
What was interesting as well, I thought, was Snoot's decision-making in the mid-game there, where he initially got the Swarm Hosts and Banelings in ridiculous numbers. I mean, you guys saw the drop being defended by 30 Banelings, right? When you get into that position and you go, right, I'm going to do this to defend my transition into Ultralisks, us watching here, people watching here going, yeah, that makes perfect sense. And then going, actually, more Swarm Hosts. As the first ones die off, and at that point you're going, well, hang on a second, Swarm Hosts just get exponentially better the larger the army size is, the more of them there are. Yes. Really interesting to see that he kind of switched it up a little bit again, and I think that was in response to just quite how much bio he saw with the army. He went, well, I know, you have the Thors there, you've got the tanks there, and then, wait, you have this many Marines? Maybe I should get some Swarm Hosts to sort of chip away at the edge of that army before going in for a final engagement.
Absolutely, Swarm Hosts do pretty good against Marines, so they're just PP just kills them pretty fast. That was just really well played. Like up until maybe the
MMA just tried to choose Daedalus.
Who did?
Nope, it's not in the map pool. But we are going to go Yonsu instead.
Wait, who tried to pick Daedalus?
MMA.
He tried to pick Daedalus against the Zerg.
Yeah.
Like I haven't played the new variant, but I'm assuming it's terrible. I'm pro DOS.
Yeah, we'll see. It's like, what do you mean Xel'Naga Caverns isn't in the map pool? I guess my siege tank pushes aren't going to work quite as well as I otherwise would have thought. All right. So we're going to be in the lobby now for Yonsu. The series is tied up 1-1 between Acer's MMA and Liquid Snoot at the moment. The game will get started very shortly. Let me just ask the players if they're ready. It looks like everybody is in the lobby.
Before I just stop the game.
MMA is ready. GG/GLHF. You can have a good game or you can have good luck, but I'm not wishing you both, is what he is saying with that statement.
Yeah.
You can pick. The good game will be me 11-11. The no. So choose one of two, that's all I'm saying. We're just waiting on Snoot at the moment to get this game started. He's currently selected... let me just make sure he's Zerg. And
Okay.
there we go. Go.
Last game of tonight coming up.
It's going to be pretty exciting, man. MMA versus Snoot. Who is going to win? Make sure you tweet your predictions, by the way, at Gfinity. Also at PewieDude and at Jarasar. We have been checking social media tonight. Thank you very much for your support and your retweets. Highly appreciated. This is, though, game number 3 of the last series of the evening. Who will go through? Is it MMA or is it Snoot? Big game affecting their results in the standings. Let's hop into Yonsu. We're spawning in the bottom left position as the red Terran player. Representing Team Acer, winning game number 1 with an 11-11. And then in game number 2, absolutely slugging out in a longer macro game, but unfortunately unable to come out on top. He's got one chance now to make it. It's MMA. Did I say he was blue? He might have been red. But his opponent's blue. I can tell you that much for free.
Well spotted.
And he plays for TeamLiquid.net in the top right-hand corner. As the not red player, it is Liquid Snoot.
Yep. Now, smallest map in the map pool, pretty much. Yonsu. I like Yonsu. It's obviously gone now, unfortunately. It did create, or provide us with some very interesting games. Swarm Host Mech is a very interesting one to see on this map.
Spawn position and dot size similarities, of course, to Blistering Sands. Just a little bit. Going, oh wow, those dots look awfully big. I'm going to rush.
I can kind of see Blistering Sands.
If you just look at the mini-map and how big the dots are because the map is smaller, you go, whoa, the last time I saw that was on one of those maps.
Steps of War.
Oh, yes.
Steps of War was glorious.
We need
The best map ever, though, is like Shakira's Blood. No, sorry. Desert Oasis. I love that map.
Desert Away. I don't know. I have a special spot in my heart for Metalopolis. Not Metropolis, Metalopolis.
Metalopolis.
Oh, I want to see like some old school maps with the same tile sets made modern so that they're a bit fairer, but like we're basically reborn into version 2. Although I don't really know how you're going to balance Scrap Station. I'm sure someone will figure it out.
Oh god, that was such a bad map.
It's all about the gold base at the bottom, man. I'm telling you. Lift up and float there at the start of the game. No one will know.
Or just TVT is like just banshee.
What do you mean mutas are good on that map? so we've got a Reaper opening coming out from MMA, guys. Snoot, in the meantime, is going to be electing to go for that pool for us. He's actually gone for that gas and then the pool. And, well, we have no expansion out of him just yet.
Interesting. So, you know, there's... Well, yeah,
I mean, smaller map, leaning into more aggressive play, so going to start that speed before we actually get that hatchery down.
Yeah, but he didn't mine any gas, so I'm a bit confused by that. Maybe he went to do like a drone cancel and didn't cancel.
What has he scouted? It's so his Overlord has spotted the barracks.
That's it.
And
No, I'm just curious because he's mined 4 gas.
oh no, it's because he started speed, dude. He's already got
started
100.
it.
Yeah, he had the gas first and then the pool. Yeah, so that's why he's not mining it anymore. So he's not looking to go into super fast baneling nest or anything like that.
I totally didn't see speed in production then.
He has made 8 Zerglings so far. So he's looking to do something. He's definitely not sitting on his laurels, and I think this is mainly to deter the Reaper.
Yeah, and
8's quite a lot, though, when you have a queen out, to be honest. It is quite a lot.
He saw the gas as well. He wouldn't have had enough time to click on that. But this is... You know, Snoot kind of has to do something with this. He is anticipating to catch... he might actually be able to hit this time in. Oh god, he's going to try and do it.
Yeah, he's going to finish in 20 seconds. He's going to say, actually, what units do you have? You are busy making a reactor right now.
2 Reapers, no bunker.
2 Reapers, no bunker is a little bit dangerous. Is that like an internet meme of some sort? 2 Reapers, 1 bunker. Can he survive? We'll find out, guys. Speed is about to kick in 1 second 0. And here we go. Here come the Speedlings. There is the door being shut, and I think that's actually going to be enough. That's going to be enough for MMA.
So smart, but the command center can get denied now, and you know the Hellions are not going to be out for a little minute. And he might. Wow, is he actually just going to go straight for the cancel here, not going for the bunker instead? And this is going to get maybe cancelled. The SUV does get picked off there, and more Zerglings are streaming down here. And this is a nice.
He can surround the bunker.
Yeah, he absolutely can. But at this point, like it's so close to killing off the command center, he might as well just go for that.
He's going to force the cancel here. And this is before the first Hellions come out. Now, a lot of larvae were sacrificed to make this possible, kids. So let's not forget. Animals were harmed in the making of this attack.
Yeah.
If we take a quick look at the worker supply, it's 24 versus 20 in Snoot's favor right now. You do not normally expect a Zerg to only be on 24 workers off of 2 base at this point in the game, so a lot of larvae were used, but MMA is now starting his natural expansion afresh. Yes, the first Hellions are out now, so you can't quite do that anymore with those Zerglings, but that was a very tactical attack from Snoot on what is, like you said, the smallest map in the map pool.
Yeah, that was a clutch time in there. There's this very specific time in there you went for there. It's obviously before the command center finishes, before the bunker finishes, and before the Hellions are out on the field.
Well, it was great positioning of the bunker as well.
Yes.
Normally, Terrans would place the bunker significantly further forward, and he went, actually, Snoot might be going for a timing like this. I'm going to put it closer to the cliff so that I can run the Reapers back and forth. And I think that's really important to note, too.
Yeah.
MMA, very, very good at reading what was incoming as well. But Snoot still did damage.
Yes, definitely, and that was like I haven't seen a bunker in there in ages. So very smart play from MMA there. Now we do have a Roach Horn, so it looks like he may want to try and follow this up with some sort of Roach timing. And of course against Reaper Hellion, that does pretty well. And he does take out the rocks as well, so you can take his third base a bit safer and defend it safer.
I'm looking to see if we end up with a Baneling nest at any point. Soon. That's kind of what I'm looking out for at the moment. 8 roaches now on the way. This looks like it could end up being a timing, but at the moment he just wants to spend all of his gas, does Snoot, on as many roaches as he possibly can. So let's see what happens with this timing. MMA, of course, kind of double expanded after cancelling, so he's going to go up to his third base anyway.
Yep, and Snoot is also taking his own third base, so gonna even it up very, very soon. That Reaper does jump up into the main, but gets picked off before it spots the Roach Horn. And where are these roaches? Oh my god, they're running around the left-hand side. They're not gonna get spotted.
They're not actually getting spotted at the moment, so this could end up being a little bit of a surprise.
Oh, but no! Oh, Snoot misclicked that. 2 of them went up the ridge. The other 6 did not. So that's unfortunate. That buys MMA time. He's adding on some bunkers right now, realizing this.
Yep, he's got a lot of ground to cover, to be honest. The Hellions are going to try and snipe off as much as they can of the roaches from the high ground, but of course Hellions do not do the best amount of damage against roaches.
Oh my god. Okay.
No, doesn't really want to go through that door in case there's a decent amount of bio on the other side, but he might be able to pick off supply depots, and he's certainly going to give it a go against the orbital command here that's now only on 2/3 health. Starting an SCV, that SCV might not finish. He has to cancel the lift. He does.
And he does, and that opens up the wall here, but Snoot doesn't commit just yet. He wants to move in with the roaches first to go stop the Hellions, picking off all his Zerglings, but there's so many Hellions that they can nearly fight the roaches. And this fight will eventually go in Snoot's favor, just about.
I think the Roach is actually killing off a decent number of these Hellions here. This is not a cost-effective trade for MMA at all. He just realizes, actually, this is what I need to hold on until my siege tank is out. And now that that's out, I think the game is going to equalize a little bit. If we take a look, the work supply is 56 to 41 in favor of Snoot right now. He is, though, he's making 12 additional lings and a Baneling nest. I wonder if he wants to follow it up with more and more aggression. But now that there are siege tanks out on the field, this it's going to get increasingly less effective.
And MMA's going to maybe get into a nice position in here. He doesn't really have the high ground vision to really abuse the position on the ramp, for example. But he could really do some serious damage off the back of this.
Oh, and we need to see a queen at the top of the ramp, actually. We don't see a queen at the top of the ramp at the moment, and there's blue flame on these Hellions, but there appears to be enough Zerglings to go for at least a semi-surround. The tank is going to go down, actually, so this is going to be forced back. A couple of Hellions will just about survive.
And Widowmine does join the fight here. Will probably borrow.
It's alright, guys, I'm here, don't worry about it.
I got your backup plans.
Exactly, and yes, got a Zergling. Okay, that's my job done, don't even worry about it. We got this, guys. It's like, thanks, appreciate it. Thanks, bro. Layer about to complete now for Snoot. He's got 111 on the way.
Oh my god.
So he's going for all of the upgrades at once. This is uber aggression we see coming out of the Team Liquid Zerg here. Really, really aggressive stuff. Building a couple more drones just to sort of get up to that magical 70-ish supply, and then he's just going to non-stop hail on top of MMA when all these upgrades finish. I think Roach Speed is going to be the big one that triggers the attack. Yeah,
he does have 4 hatcheries, 2 in the main, 1 in the natural, and goes to the third base. So he's got a decent amount of production, so he's just going to ramp it up. He's not taking the gases at his third base because, like I said, he's probably just going to go Limblin Roach.
Oh, Hellions actually, though, doing a decent amount of damage over here at the third base. Finally, some workers getting killed, actually. 9 workers versus 6 killed this game, so believe it or not, Snoot still killing more workers than MMA. Despite the presence of those Hellions, they do get tidied up.
MMA's rallying them to the third base, so they're literally just running up and dying. There was one that just turns around and does escape with his life. But 113 supply v 80 right now, and looking at the last game, like
17 roaches in production, but Snoot forgot to build overlords. He needs overlords right this second.
yes.
And there we go. And actually, we're going to be transitioning into a Hydra then. So Snoot deciding, okay, no, this isn't going to be some sort of Roach Bane kind of timing. I'm just going to move in, grab myself some Hydras, and get just really, really solid into the late game.
Yeah, absolutely. So these roaches trying to zone out all the Hellions. He's trying to intercept them, so obviously he can kill them off, and he doesn't have to worry about run bys or something like that. Like these Hellions, if they go into a mineral line,
Oh, he does intercept them though.
Yeah.
Underneath that command center, 2 more of them go down, and the third one goes down to very red health.
And yeah, that's gonna do some more damage. Oh no, turns around.
I was going to say he could take that.
Yeah, you could have taken out the bunker.
Yeah, he could have taken out the bunker and run away. Obviously, there were more Marines and SCVs that could repair it, but element of surprise with Snoot there. And a couple of these Hellions looking like they're going to be toast over here on the right-hand side of the map. 4 hit points on one of them is... Wow, this guy is lucky. Wow, this guy is so lucky over here on the right-hand side. Unbelievable. And 4 hit point Hellion just about gets away. Snoot, though, looking to attack.
And this is a very scary army. He's up at 147 supply, fair enough. A lot of it is roaches, so it's not the most supply efficient tank. He's got to run away. He cannot fight this.
Yeah, with the tank, it's not possible. Without the tank, he might have considered just going in and seeing what he can do, but he might as well wait for some extra DPS from those Hydralisks if he just wants to absolutely smack his opponent down with that damage here. Roach is just going to be huddling around, doing a little bit of Morris dancing around that watchtower by the looks of things. The other one, of course, taken by the Hellions thus far. And 10 Hydras on the way, so we are going to be mixing in a lot of DPS into this army shortly. In the meantime, 2-2 is on the way for MMA. However...
Snoot's only getting plus 2 armor.
Yeah, he's only getting plus 2 armor. So, MMA, after this round of upgrades is complete, will have the upgrade advantage. That's pretty big.
Yeah, absolutely. He is re-securing his third base down at the 6 o'clock position as the one at the 8 or 9 o'clock position. It's just, he can't defend it. There's too much aggression coming his way. Banelands, everything's rolling in. And personally, I prefer this one in terms of defensive stances. But we do have the Hydra Den finishing up. He's getting the upgrades. There's some Hydra speed, some Hydras themselves. And it's not nearly max, so he's going to want to start being aggressive soon.
There's 2-2, and actually when plus 2 armor finishes for Snoot, there will be roughly a 30-second in-game period where he's just going to be, I think, 3 upgrades up on his opponent, or something ridiculous.
It's going to be glorious.
But let's see if he tries and take that advantage. These roaches are actually going to get caught here. There is a drop inside the main base, but it does get cleaned up by those Lings and Queens, and now we have a big engagement over here. I think Snoot doesn't like what he sees. He's waiting for the Hydras and Lings to arrive, but tanks have been sieged up. Now that he knows the tanks are sieged up there, though, is he going to go for another angle, or is he just going to sit back? It looks like the latter.
Yeah, and this Medevac's boosting around, seeing what I can get done. It does spot the 4th base for Snoot, and we'll get a couple of overloads, maybe. No. Actually, me as he drops them again. Nope.
Wow, and getting away just before the Hydras actually get there. So, pretty lucky on that timing there is MMA at the moment. Not really able to sort of attack multiple places at once. And ooh,
the Hydras
very
picked it
nice.
off.
Very nice. Not quite far enough by the looks of things. The very overlords he was trying to pick off with the Marines ended up being his undoing.
We do have a couple of Widow Mines. The
That's
one on the
called
right.
karma.
Yes. The one on the right-hand side did get cleaned up. The one on the left is chilling. Is that? No, actually, that is the one from the right-hand side. And we have another medevac drop, which I don't know if that got spotted, but it is flying upwards. How many roaches do we have? That's what I want to know.
We have a grand total of 28 roaches and 16 Hydralisks, and this is a big engagement happening on the south side of the map. Decent concave, but a better one for MMA, but his lines are spread a little bit thinner. He's down to 140 supply versus 160 for Liquid Snoot. Both sides plummeting in supply right now. The medevacs, though, are staying alive, and there are still tanks on the high ground, so there is hope for holding this, because the tanks are doing so much splash damage, but is it going to be enough? MMA dropping to 107 supply now to 160, but a lot of this is in resupply across the other side of the map. There aren't that many units left for Snoot, and he will just about be able to break this bunker. That tank going to go down, but another one coming in with defense, and I think these SCVs are preparing the bunker spell the end.
They definitely do. The medevacs need to get picked out there, but Snoot just leaving all his units. That was a pretty decent trade for him.
That was a great trade for Snoot, actually, because he's brought MMA down to under 100 supply, where Snoot's economy is still just really, really thriving. He's mining more minerals and more gas than MMA until MMA drops the mule hammers, and even then, it's not actually that much more.
Yeah, definitely. He does have the 4th command center though, so you can lift this up. He's he picked up units, dropped them on behind that rock to pick off the Overlord, and he's gonna kill off the rock so the SCVs can freely run up there.
And now this game is significantly less mechy than before. It's basically Marine tank at the moment for MMA's composition. So we have a lot of swarm hosts now incoming from Snooty saying, look, I might be able to rush and win this game, but you know what? I could actually just use this opportunity to spread more creep and transition into swarm hosts, and I actually think it's just going to start looking better for him.
Oh, a couple of SCVs getting picked off there. He's still got a lot of roaches. 51 v 60 workers, so the income's about even, really.
But look at the map position and the army supply. I mean, Snoot is 50 supply ahead right now, and pneumatized carapace about halfway done, so that's going to help a little bit with that scouting, but the swarm hosts are starting to complete. So MMA does not have a lot of time right now, and speaking of those workers, I think you just cast a cursed MMA, dude.
Yeah, man. You just lost another 9 there. So
Yep, so workers killed now, increasing to 31 for Liquid Snoot, who's ahead 60 workers to 42. So not the highest economy game we've seen, but you know what? Once we get these swarm hosts out, I feel like, especially from... This is a much better position for the swarm hosts than in the last game where they were out in the middle of nowhere. I like this. High ground on creep at the watchtower. Just solid.
Yeah, and you know, Snoot, he's ahead going into swarm hosts. Last game, he was either even or behind going into swarm hosts, so obviously he's going to have a tougher time doing that.
And look at this. The Locust can reach the base from the watchtower. I mean, if you want to know how much smaller this map is, for example, compared to Altazine, this would be a pretty good indication of it. He has a great position in the middle, although he needs to burrow some more of those swarm hosts. There we go. And, yeah, he's just able to reach the 3rd base location, so he can keep doing this for quite a while.
Yeah, absolutely can, and Snoot's just trying to force MMA to make a mistake. Of course, Snoot doesn't really have the bank where he can lose all this army and be like, okay, easy peasy. So he does have to be very, very careful here.
EGPG, he says, and oh, very nice. Medevac actually picking up 6 SCVs. They're doing a great job, but Snoot at the same time keeping units underneath that command center, even if briefly. And, well, it looks like it is going to be able to land once again, but the swarm host is just going to be all the more annoying. Are we still making more? We are, and we've got Vipers incoming as well.
Oh, God, and he's got the extra upgrades. The +3 missile attack is in production.
We'll keep an eye on a drop at the top left as well from MMA. He's busy defending at the moment, though, so he hasn't loaded that up yet. There we go. He's going to be stimming it down to meet and greet this lovely group of roaches and hydras, and all of a sudden that doesn't look like such a good idea.
No, definitely not. So many tanks as well.
He needs it. He needs as much AoE damage as possible. Otherwise, over time, these swarm hosts are just going to do so much damage.
The only problem is there for MMA is, of course, nice transition can totally destroy that.
Yep, that's right. And, well, I mean, he's doing a decent job of it so far, but it's not like he's taking 0 damage. Even if just a shot or 2 from these locusts end up hitting a tank, that's better than nothing, and it is technically free. More drops coming in, though, over here at the 2 o'clock position. We have another drop going down here. This space, not that many drones, actually. Snoot mainly using the space for gas, but he's not able to respond just yet. A small excursion into the natural expansion isn't going to work out for him either, but it is still just the 1 drop. It looks like this hatch is going to go down as Snoot uses the roaches and hydras to defend while moving forward with the swarm host. That's a lot of swarm hosts, man.
And MMA does take the supply lead, and then
he just scans and went, what in the what?
And then Snoot retakes the lead again.
Yeah. Oh, he just picked off 2 siege tanks with these swarm hosts. So a couple of small victories there for Snoot. Gonna make MMA very slightly worried. He's starting to build up a bit of a bank now, and we've got the Vipers on the scene as well. So if MMA decides to move in, Snoot can start using the Vipers to his advantage.
Yep. So he's up to 24 swarm hosts.
This drop is still alive there over here on the right-hand side. Snoot needs to deal with it.
And it looks like it will get cleaned up. The last Marauder does get picked off here, but the swarm hosts are still running forward. There's tanks on the low ground which will get picked off here. And tanks are so expensive. You know, free units killing tanks is so good.
Yeah, this is it's starting to look like MMA needs to do something. We have another drop over here against the 3rd base in the top position. The hatch going down to about half health, but actually a decent army is already there. Snoot continuing to press forward with the swarm host, now considering going over to the 4th base location. Some great abducts going in from those tanks into the locusts, by the way, so there's minimal risk here. Wow, another tank going down. That's 4 tanks so far in this push. And MMA must be going, actually, I need to push out soon. I can't do this indefinitely. And, oh! Swarm hosts, naked! This is big.
Dropping the Marauders on top of them. Of course, they do the bonus damage against the armored units. Here comes all the stim units from MMA, and holy Jesus. he's actually going to be able to take this fight right now. And Snoot doesn't really have the big enough bank to produce.
Did we say there were 24 swarm hosts? Because there's one.
There's one.
There is one, Pewee.
There's
that.
It's 24 times less.
That is 24 times fewer swarm hosts than you would expect in this game a minute ago. And that is the danger of having your swarm hosts in a stimmable location against a nice chunk of bio. The roaches, the hydras, they weren't there.
I think
simple as that.
Snoot doesn't really have much of a bank. MMA's capitalized and he's earning that bank. He's getting closer to max, and Snoot, he does have some Vipers and stuff like that.
Good blinding clouds, but he needs more. He needs more of them because this bio is so high DPS. As soon as they move out of the blinding clouds, they just do so much damage. It might not be enough here. MMA up. 174 supply to 123, and he's moving into the third base location. It looks like the army's gone. The drones are being pulled. This is going to be it. 80 supply. GG. And MMA, ladies and gentlemen, by a scoreline of 2-1, is going to defeat Liquid Snoot.